Mike Lubitz with me, and we have the Gambling Gourmet Mike Mayo joins us every Friday on our Degenerate Friday program. I would imagine you've been at a lot of these coaches' press conferences where they come in to take over a job. The last time I saw this kind of enthusiasm, I don't know if you saw any of the clips, Mike, of this Mike McIntyre. He takes over at FIU, a team that won one game last year. The last time I saw this much enthusiasm, I had accidentally tuned into an episode where they had an Up With People concert on TV. I used to read the headlines in the racing forum. It was always great because the headlines were so archaic. I mean, they were just paying token homage to the idea that kind of like some of the public service announcements that you hear various radio stations play. I mean, they're obligated to do it by FCC regulations that were written when the Magna Carta came out. Do you really feel in your heart of hearts, having been in radio as long as you were, that the general philosophy of the radio station, go ahead and honor a commitment to do things that were beneficial to the local community? No. All they wanted to know, hey, is Zimmerman going to spill the beans on that account for the casino?
That's all I cared about. The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Feeling kind of funny. Tuesday, Wednesday, man, think about money. Wake out in the cold, cold sweat, thinking about that winning bet. Thursday night, I'm feeling alright. Degenerate Friday's in my side. Degenerate Friday, Degenerate Friday. I said Degenerate Friday, Degenerate Friday. The Defo Show just give a half away. Every single day will be Degenerate Friday. Well, Lubie don't like it, but that's okay. Jimmy Mark's gotta pick the winners in the way. Yeah, it's my favorite day of the week. Got my on a winning streak. Boys down here make love the show. To follow our pictures and make some dough. Degenerate Friday, Degenerate Friday. I said Degenerate Friday, Degenerate Friday. People don't just give a half away. Every single day will be Degenerate Friday.
And a very pleasant good morning on a Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, brought to you by the great people at Gulfstream Park, here on the wonderful confines of the Eye on Channel, Jack Namer's fine organization. Under the auspices, also the lovely Amy, Brad Schiller helping us out here. I'm Jeff Deforrest, along with one Mike Lubitz, and we welcome you to the show. Jersey Kyle's going to join us via the highest level of technology. Yeah, can I call you on the phone? In a few minutes here on the show. We'll also have our handicappers, final week of the NFL season, and, of course, the college championship game. Mark Lawrence, world championship handicapper from Playbook.com, going to be with us here on the program. And the professor is going to join us as well, very astute. I'm assuming that the professor, he's been on Alabama since the opening week of the season. Remember, yes, there was some hideous, very lofty line that Alabama had to play in to open up the year, and he was betting Alabama all year, and I think cashing tickets because I believe Alabama, if I'm not mistaken, had a pretty good record against the spread. And so we'll get the professor's opinion later on what's going to happen in the college championship game. And of course, the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, food, glorious food. And Mayo's been packing it in, man. Although he... We'll see how it looks today because he's going to appear with us, of course, via computer technology, and he'll be making an appearance, a physical appearance on the show, The Gambling Gourmet, as he analyzes various things on not only the food scene, but, of course, the sports scene, which he was a big part of as a sports writer for the paper here in South Florida, the South Florida Sun-Sentinel, which they did not want to be known as the Fort Lauderdale Sun-Sentinel anymore because South Florida became all-encompassing. Exactly. Right, I'm not a big fan of the term South Florida in describing the area because people ask you where you live. What do you say, South Florida? It can mean a lot of places, right? South where? I mean, where are you? Key West? Are you down there by the buoy that got damaged by those two freaks that burnt the Christmas tree? Or, you could be in Palm Beach. So it's relatively nondescript, but at the same time, Fort Lauderdale has distinction, does it not? Boys on the beach. Miami is another distinct place, right? What do you think of when you think of Miami? You think of the cocaine cowboys and Billy Corbin and guys shooting each other on the turnpike, which unfortunately is a practice that is now back in vogue for different reasons. Lubie, you watch the local news at all? I know you're not a news guy because you don't want to be depressed, but the daily shootings on the highways here in South Florida, people, calm the fuck down. That's all we have to say.
What the hell?
Here's what we're excited about at Ion Channel, and this could be the new direction. I'm going to go Karnak the Magnificent here, if you don't mind. Mike Lubitz. Karnak the Magnificent. Remember the Johnny Carson thing? And I can feel it. Do you see that headline in the New York Post? If you're watching on the video, obviously, if you're just on the audio side of things, you're wondering, what the hell is this guy doing? But there it is. It starts tomorrow, mañana, in the state of New York, which they had some form of this. They came into it with the same. Are Florida legislators influencing the thinking in the Big Apple right now? Because they started out with the sports wagering with some cockamamie scheme. You could go to a Native American casino outside of like White Plains, but you couldn't make a bet in New York City unless you had an account in New Jersey, in which case you had to physically be in New Jersey to place that wager. So guys literally, and there's a couple of guys in the article on this quoted as saying, yeah, my girlfriend will be happy because I won't be schlepping by bicycle across like the Verrazano Bridge. I don't know if the Verrazano goes into New Jersey, but nonetheless, I won't be riding over the bridge on my bicycle. And it was like the wet foot, dry foot thing here in South Florida, only it was a degenerate wet foot, dry foot. You know how the well, I mean, and for the unfamiliar, around the world that are listening and watching the show, which we appreciate, there's a law here that if you're a Cuban immigrant, I don't even know if it applies to other immigrants, but if you're a Cuban immigrant, you have to have both feet or 1 foot on the sand. If you just kind of washed up on the shore. I mean, imagine you just went 90 miles in treacherous and deadly waters. And now you have to have 1 foot in the sand before the customs people get you. And if you have 1 foot in the sand on dry land, so to speak, then you're allowed to, go through the process and possibly stay and maybe even eventually become an American citizen and live the American dream. And if your toes are in the water on both, if both feet have toes in the water, whoosh, straight back to Cuba, man, straight to Havana, facing Fidel. I mean, it seems a little cruel, doesn't it? But the degenerate version of that, of course, was you had to have, I think you had to have both feet in New Jersey to place a wager. And then these people would schlep back to work on their bicycle, going back across the bridge. Imagine, it looked like the Tour de France. It hit New York City. Everybody's there. There's Lance Armstrong. Hey, look at that. Lance has a glass of champagne. Looks like he's got this one locked up. And that was just so you could go plunge your brains out. So all that changes tomorrow in New York City, and they're going to be able to do it on various phone apps. And there was a lot of competition for the people to be, I guess you would call it the suppliers of, or be the source of this sports wagering. DraftKings, of course, involved. Didn't they start out as some kind of stupid schlepper fantasy app?
Yes.
Where, Mo and Frank were playing against each other in some fantasy game, and they needed somebody to kind of regulate things, so they started these. Is that how this thing started, from very humble beginnings, FanDuel and DraftKings? Because they're dominating the universe of degeneracy right now. Bet Rivers, you see some ads for Bet Rivers
Yep.
here and there. Yeah, that's some company that's like Riverfront Gambling or something. And Caesar Sportsbook, the four entities that are expected to generate tens, Lubie, of billions of dollars in the very near future for the state of New York. So where's Ron DeSantis on this? So let him bleed, Ron. I would think would be all for it. Well, he is, of course. But when he got stooped by the Seminoles there, as somehow there was a secret pact made. And, okay, guys, here's how it's going to work. All you other casino operators and gambling entities that have been in business here for years and years and years, whoosh, you're all shut out.
Exactly.
We'll tell you how it's going to work. Way to go, Ron. But that got thrown out in court, and now it's wide open again. But all it means is that it's more delays for those who are inclined to wager on these sort of things. And you know what? It's not a bad thing. If you have... See, I hate to do this on a Degenerate Friday. Is there anybody out there in our listening or viewing audience that has any... There have to be people that have some semblance of control when it comes to gambling. even the heaviest of gamblers. And of course, naturally the red flags were flying from people that don't understand how much more exciting every ball game is if you have a few dollars on it, which you finally came to realize, Lubie. Your $5 on that Super Bowl game, you almost tipped over the table and spilled like the butter from his lobster that was sitting in front of him that he wasn't able to eat because he was in stunned disbelief when the Duke treated you to a private viewing of the Super Bowl in Las Vegas at the Palm, which had to be pretty pricey just to get that room, right?
Yeah.
And you're in his face with your little $5 wager on the Broncos going, yeah, Peyton, I knew you weren't washed up. This poor man has thousands of dollars on Carolina and Cam Newton, who is laying an egg.
Yep.
I mean, but what happened? Nobody could blame you because even the Duke gave you a pass. He said, you know what? Lubie had money on the game. But you can't convince me that it didn't overwhelmingly amplify your interest in that ball game. Otherwise, who cares? The Super Bowl drags on forever. The Flowers are in the punch at halftime.
Yep.
Rarely do you get an exciting game, although I think that tendency has changed a little bit of late. Have there not been more exciting Super Bowl games?
Except
Sure.
for
I mean, last year's game, the Chiefs didn't show up. Yeah.
So, that's sort of versus a great defensive line. But usually, yes, the last few years we've had real games. There was like in the 90s, every game sucked. But I would say the last decade or so, you've actually had some competitive games in the Super Bowl. Thank God.
First couple of Super Bowls were duds, man. The Green Bay Packers were so vastly superior to anything that the AFL had to offer. And then, of course, my favorite game, maybe all time in the history of professional football. Oh, go ahead, Defo. Take us back into the distant past.
Mr. New York.
Super Bowl III and Joe Willie Namath. Well, it changed. You see, I like things that change the basic foundation of the human condition, especially when it comes to gambling. And that was one, right? I mean, because the AFL was considered to be somewhat of a joke. Baltimore Colts favored by 17 and a hook. They had the great Don Shula coaching a team. Bubba Smith, remember that? Nobody wanted to run into Bubba Smith anywhere. He was probably deemed, if they did a survey at the time, the last guy you would want to meet in a dark alley somewhere when he was angry. Bubba Smith might have topped anybody.
He was a scary dude
in that category. Scary, yeah. But Joe Willie says, I'll be out partying on Saturday night, but I'll see you Sunday, Bubba. And that's pretty much rewriting history right there. Just absolutely fantastic. So, and that was great because, the entire time you're waiting for the Colts to figure out a way to finally break the rhythm of the Jets and get back. They weren't hopelessly out of that ball game. It actually took a couple of mistakes later on by the Colts to solidify things. And then, a washed-up Johnny U came out there and led them to their lone score in the ballgame towards the tail end. And that was history. After that, people started to believe. I think this was consolidated also, though. You know how you have to consolidate the break in tennis? You break the other guy's serve, but now you've got a whole serve on the other side. And consolidate the break, as it's known. And the Super Bowl III was validated with the AFL being a coming league and something that the NFL was going to eventually have to not only contend with, but maybe even absorb, which they did. And that was when the Kansas City Chiefs went out and they beat the Vikings, I think, in Super Bowl IV. And the Chiefs with Len Dawson, remember that game? No, you weren't even born yet, Libby.
But I'm aware of it, yes.
That was, and that was consolidation of the fact and also consideration of the fact that the American Football League was indeed on the same level and may be even exceeding. The style of play was very different what the NFL was doing. Those old stodgy 3 yards in a cloud of dust guys, right? I mean, NFL was kind of known as a conservative, run the ball first.
Old school, yep.
Yeah, defensive-oriented league. Defense wins championships, right? And the AFL, what are they doing, man? They got the snake throwing the ball 50 yards down the field. Those balls fluttering in the wind at Shea as Joe Willie was finding Don Maynard, George Sauer, and the great Pete Lamons. I mean, those were the days, very formative years. And turned things around completely. And imagine you had, and now, Jersey Kyle's going to join us later on. He's the one guy in this modern era that has the balls to say Jets, money line. They're apparently, destined to get trashed this week by the Buffalo Bills. What do you think in that ball game? The Buffalo Bills, Bills with a lot at stake. I mean, if they win that ball game, what's that?
They're playing for the division. Like, they have everything to play for.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to give them a little bit of an edge. I think they may be playing, if circumstances work out, possibly to be the number one seed. I
There
think
you go.
that's still up for grabs in the AFC. So a lot at stake. It's going to be a very interesting weekend, and you just don't know how teams are going to play it. So we'll get some insight later on here in our Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday into the NFL slate with Mark Lawrence, and the professor is going to talk about this college game, which you're leaning towards Georgia in this game. I wanted to give you this, and it gets back into a theory that we've been espousing on this show for, well, the last several weeks, ever since. And it's rare that you have this circumstance where Nick Saban is an underdog. How often is Nick Saban an underdog? And it comes under, if we can borrow a theme from Mark Lawrence, I don't know if he's explored this theme or been a professor of this as well, and a proliferator of the don't bet against the devil line of thinking. And I did a little research on this, Lubie, because we've been misstating the case of Nick Saban. You say he has never lost when an underdog, which is not true.
I mean, I'm not
He
saying
lost.
his career. They're supposedly like
No, at Alabama. The circumstance is rare.
it's very.
And I believe it's only occurred like 6 times, right?
Oh wow.
In the history of Alabama football. It might be 7 now, yeah, because I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times in the past, including now this will be the 7th, as Georgia is going to be laying 3 points against the team thrashed by 41-17 just a few short weeks ago. What, did Nick wad up his game plan and just throw it out the window? You don't think he realizes that there were probably, Nick probably looked at that game as a failure and said, oh my God, we only won by what is that, 24 points? You imagine? He's probably thinking, we missed a lot of opportunities out there. We're going to have to clean some things up, right? He was really hard on his players in practice because he doesn't want them to be fueled by the so-called, as he terms it, rat poison, which, who's the rat there? It would be Nick Saban. But nonetheless, I'm sure he has motivated his team into thinking that they just made a series of catastrophic blunders in pounding Georgia into a submission in that ballgame, 41-17. And this was an Alabama team that had just been challenged by an Auburn squad whose quarterback was a veritable cripple by the time they got to the second half. This was a guy that was on one of these walkers that you would see at Century Village, and for some reason, they wouldn't go away from the kid, even though they had no chance to do anything with this guy, and they were going 3 and out as a matter of routine, no matter where they got the football. Nick would go for 4th down on a 4th and 7 from his own 3-yard line because he knew that Auburn wasn't going to score any more than a field goal, and I believe they probably even had like a suspect kicker in that ball game as well. So, and the fact that they were life and death to beat that team gave you no reason to believe that they could beat Georgia in that game. And yet, the theory came once again into full view and focus, 100% centralized, and that was don't bet against the devil. Nick Saban, of course, just take the B out, put in the T, and you have Satan, as we perceived him to be when he was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. Just an awful human being. Is he mellowing, though? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, he is in his 70s now, so you would think at some point he would take the edge off. It seems like you get a smile.
There's more of an edge when you hit 70, Lubie. There's even more of an edge because now there's not only going to be a rush to judgment on the value of your life. And as I said yesterday, right now I'm looking at my broadcasting career, and I am that guy. I don't even know. I probably exaggerated yesterday. I don't know if I went 5 1/3 and gave up 4 runs. It's more like 4 1/3.
Shut up.
4 1/3. Left a lot of guys maybe second and third, nobody out as I exited the ball game in the 5th inning, and I had already given up like 6 runs. And there's nobody applauding. Everybody's booing, going, "You're washed up, Defo. You're finished." And I don't even know if your wife's applauding. Okay, kid, nice job. Of course, the other 2 runs score courtesy of they bring in like Kenley Jansen, and on the first pitch, boom. There's a base hit. So now you've given up 8 in 4 1/3. The earned run average is ballooning up like Oksana Bayul's blood alcohol level was when they took her out of that car that time. I guess you could use a lot of examples. Was that the only time she was drunk, by the way, Oksana Bayul? You remember her, the figure skater?
Yes, probably not. I would presume she hit it pretty hard that day. It's not a first.
Yeah, Bayul. Unbelievable. She was a figure skater, right? Not a gymnast.
Yes, she was a figure skater. Yes. Oksana Bayul.
She was a veritable gymnast on skates, this woman. She was amazing, like a human Gumby, incredible. But unfortunately, met with a fate that, like the Jackie Smith drop pass we were talking about yesterday, is probably never mind the gold medals. They'll always remember this woman just stone drunk getting out of a car. All right, we're going to bring on Jersey Kyle here in just a few minutes on the program. We do want to tell you that Hialeah Park has a sensational boxing card coming up January the 28th, and that is going to be right there on the apron of the track. They set up the ring. They do a marvelous job. They have the canopy there. And if you catch a good night, which for the most part, you have to believe that that's going to be the case, it's just splendid to be sitting on the uncovered section ringside. And then they've got the stands, of course, covered. So even if you get a couple of, schwitzing clowns out there, it's no problem. And I like boxing matches that take place under outdoor adverse conditions. But hopefully things will be just perfect because the card is sensational. You wouldn't want to see it compromised. And this is just going to be a blast. So get your tickets online. HialeahPark.com is where you can find all the information. January 28th, going to be a lot of... I mean, there's a stable full of Cuban emerging superstars, and many of them are going to be featured on this card. Now, I'm not talking about Lubie guys that are like 1-0 with one knockout over some schlep that they just picked up out of a cab there on Southeast 8th Street. Hey, go down to Versailles and find us an opponent. I'm talking about guys that are really lighting up the boxing world with a lot of excitement. So they're all going to be featured on this card, many of them anyway. And, wow, it's just going to be a dynamite, explosive night of boxing at Hialeah Park. Always great going there. The casino is absolutely spectacular. And we know that Steve Calabro wouldn't have it any other way. Jackpot upon jackpot being won. The royal reels are spinning everywhere. Kings and queens and aces and whatever you need to win. And then the line goes this way and that way. It looks like the rise and fall of the stock market. And all of a sudden you realize, wow, I'm going to pick up like 20 dimes. It's great. The casino action there is always fantastic. It's designed so you can have a good time at Hialeah Park. Poker room is great. They treat you like a champ in there. And, of course, speaking of champs, champion simulcasting room, my favorite place to punch away on all the ponies, all happening at Hialeah Park. It's Friday, so they're open till 5 a.m. And then, of course, they'll do the same thing again on Saturday. And you can catch all of the action during the week until 3 a.m. in the morning, opening up every day at 9. Beautiful Hialeah Park. All right, Jersey Kyle coming up. I would imagine he's going Jets money line this week. Once again, we did see a human mush yesterday. We had a couple of drinks with our good friend Dino, who, whatever he likes, pretty much certainty you can go the other way with a great deal of confidence. I think Jersey's been cashing some sensational tickets on that theory. In fact, they wouldn't even... He's going to have to get the app out of New York or something and try to pretend that he's living there. Because, they won't even take his action at the bar there at Denny's anymore. He couldn't even get a drink. We had to order it for him. The bartender doesn't want to look him in the eye anymore after he's buried him because he's just going the other way from our friend Dino, kiss of death. So we'll get into some of that with Jersey Kyle on this Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday. Real happy to be with you here on Ion Channel. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubitz. Mark Lawrence coming up with some college. And I don't know if these guys... I guess they'll give out the championship game, right? I would imagine, too. Well, what do you think about the pace of this game? What's the I don't have the total on that, but George is laying 3, which I find very tempting to just unload on Alabama in this one. What do you think? Over-under total?
A little wide open than the last free. I'm looking for the over-under right now. I'm hoping.
I mean, the last game went 58 points, even though Georgia got trounced.
Oh, it's 58 because Alabama put up a lot of points. Like, I'm hoping it's not just one-sided. Like, I'm hoping both teams are playing a much more modern brand of football, and Georgia wakes the hell up. Over under, I'm saying 51 and a hook.
Okay, not a bad number.
Yeah, that's a nice number.
It's now 6 times, I guess, that Saban has been an underdog while at Alabama, and he's won 5 of those games outright. He did lose to the spread in 2008 when getting 10 points against the University of Florida team. Was that one of those championship University of Florida teams?
I think so.
Was Urban Meyer there at that time, 2008?
Yes. I think so.
All right, they beat the snot out of Alabama that day, 31-20, although Alabama only loses to the spread by 1 point. So a very frustrating development there. Otherwise, you would have, not only would Nick Saban be unbeaten against the spread, but still not shabby. 5-1 straight up when an underdog at Alabama. What does that tell you, Mike Lubitz?
Don't bet
Follow
against
the trend.
the devil.
Follow the trend, my friend, and don't bet against the devil. What was Jim Baker's sentence? How many years did he do in a slammer, Jim Baker? Swaggart ever go to jail for that scam that he was running on TV?
I don't know.
I don't know, right? Betting against the devil, telling you to denounce the devil doesn't exist, all of this other stuff. Bunch of nonsense. Turns out, what do they do when the judge gets a chance? Throws the book at him. There you go. There's your good book. 20 years, Jimmy. And Tammy Faye is going to be right behind you, but at a different facility. I can't bet against the devil. What do you want me to say, Lubie? How can you do it? In all good faith.
I probably would because I can't stand him. But that's why I'm not putting any money on this game.
The fact that you like Georgia in this game is just so appetizing that I want to bring the Gambling Gourmet on right now. It's like you took a fresh batch of truffles straight off a wheelbarrow from France or wherever the hell they grow. Where do truffles grow? France? Why are they so expensive for like a root that looks like a dirty potato?
In the world, France and there's France and one other place in the entire world. That's the only place they grow. So that's why they're expensive.
The guy shaves a thing like literally like he was in Goodfellas in prison there with Sorvino. Shaves just a little dusting of truffles over your dish, and it's an extra $60. You give me a break there, Lubie. Imagine. So, but even the Gambling Gourmet will be willing to go ahead and pick up the check on a round of truffles for everybody. If he realized that in addition to not betting against the devil, you like the other side.
Thank you.
The same team that just got crushed, as we say, by the proverbial grape. The last time the two teams met. And what is the other cliche that's in play here? It's so obvious. You give Nick Saban 4 weeks to prepare for anybody, or whatever this is, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
When is the game? Next February?
It's Monday. It's Monday. It was a little over a week he's going to get.
They're still playing college football? All right, that's to be decided. We'll have some insight into that from both the professor and Mark Lawrence later on. The Gambling Gourmet Mike Mayo with us as well. We'll be with you until 9:30 Eastern here, so stick around, people. As the great Vince Scully would say, pull up a chair and stay a while. Could you see yourself actually doing that? Because he was talking about a radio broadcast, and he would tell you to just pull up a chair, take out the old transistor, and listen to a little Dodger baseball brought to you by Farmer John. All right, coming back with more in a moment here on the Defo Show. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He is Mike Lubitz, the human mush. Back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
Georgia. I'm hearing Ray Charles in my head as your money goes whistling out the window. 727.
Since day one of old school, we've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes, but it goes well beyond strokes because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy. And if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat 24/7. Catholic Health Services.
The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the Village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled first floor casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at gulfstreampark.com.
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deel Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at deelvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deel a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deel Volkswagen. That really scares me more than anything in life. Never
The
mind
mini bar?
losing all of your money gambling. Like, is there anything worse? You open the fridge door thinking you're going to shove that half a cheeseburger
Yes.
that you had left over, and you took it with you, even though you probably were going to have
Never
to put it
gonna-
in a
yeah.
drawer and eat it again. You open the door, the refrigerator door, and you're thinking you're just going to put something in there from, because naturally you didn't even bother to check in. You already ate something before you got to the hotel. And the minute you open the door, like a slot machine, the reels start turning.
Yes. Yeah, don't even
And
bump
it's
into the.
$17. I mean, you may as well just buy your drinks on the plane. $17 for a little tiny, thing of vodka. You got to be kidding me.
It's almost like that thing. Was,
M&M's $20 a pop. I mean, who's making the prices there? Joe Biden? What is that?
Jeez.
Enjoy your trip to work with lots of laughs thanks to Defo and Lubie. Now on the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Once again, everybody. It's Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday. I'm Jeff Deforrest, along with one Mike Lubitz, and we welcome to the program here via the modern wonders of communication and by a very sketchy cell phone arrangement. We welcome to the show Jersey Kyle Martinez, with whom I was with last night, and in the presence of a mush, the great Dino. Jersey, how are you, my friend? It was a lovely evening last night. It really was great being out there on, the Lauderdale by the Sea strip there on Commercial Boulevard. And your favorite place, of course, or among your favorite places, Vinny's, where you've been known to get involved in various forms of illegal betting action. How are you?
I am good, and it was nice out there last night. It was good to see that you were still above ground. I hadn't seen you in a while.
Yeah, no, it was a very refreshing evening, and you were up to your old antics, of course, eyeballing some. I don't want to say old brawn, but this was your type, and you almost, as if by bodily and muscle, conditioning, got up and did the old lean, and then you realized you could hear that screaming in your head right out of Goodfellas, Karen. It's amazing how subliminally the girlfriend can stop you right in your tracks from being the lecherous piece of crap that you really are.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's great. I did have my eye on a couple last night. You can't help it when the sites are what they are out there. But there's no fear of COVID, I guess, in Lauderdale by the Sea.
No,
there was close to 10,000 people out there.
Oh my God.
Although when Dino started, raising, his gallop a little bit as he was getting up from the table, and then he always has to make a few last pronouncements. And, he was spitting like he was Lou Duva in the corner, giving Vinny Pazienza some instructions about how he needs to knock this guy out, and the spittle is flying all over. So, and I'm worried about this guy because I'm not sure where he stands with Omicron. I don't think, if his alcoholism couldn't put him down, certainly COVID-19 is like nothing. No worse than a small sniffle to a guy that's constituted like Dino, whose body is essentially pickled and has been for the last 30 years.
Yeah, no, and now his newest thing, he has become basically my muse, I guess, but in an opposite way, he's become my mush. Anything that he picks, I've been going the other way, and a very, very nice event lately, 3 for 3 on going against the Dino pick. So, this is my new thing. He loved Michigan the other night, coming to the now known as Jersey Mike's Sub Arena in New Brunswick, New Jersey, playing the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. And Michigan, a 4.5 point favorite, just got swallowed up by a bunch of Jersey guys last, I guess that was Tuesday night, which was very nice. And Rutgers winning the game outright. So for all you money line players out there, a very nice 3-1 score.
Well, it's great, too. Think about the depth of the depravity that you just described there, Jersey Kyle, and summarize where we all stand in a nutshell on a Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday here on Ion Channel. And that is that you are actually betting Rutgers college basketball
Yes.
I mean, you wouldn't know if they were playing basketball or field hockey, but the fact that you could base this and warmly embrace it with your own bankroll there, just based on a mush theory,
I love it.
Was pretty incredible. And to have it actually, come and result in a payoff at 3-1. What were the odds that you would have any inclination whatsoever to even know that Rutgers basketball against Michigan was on the sports schedule that night?
Well, only the fact that I, grew up about 10 minutes away from the Rutgers Stadium, and
yes, so you're aware of the stench at Rutgers. Stench, my friend.
It's not as bad as Elizabeth, but it's close.
Piscataway, get the hell out of here!
Exactly.
When you're flying into the Newark airport and you're hovering over Piscataway, the guy actually says, "Okay, we're nearing Piscataway. We're going to have to climb an extra 10,000 feet just to avoid the stench of this city." And all of a sudden, there goes the plane, like it was, sprouted, chopper, whirlybird type stuff, and go straight up in the air to avoid the smell.
Yeah, it's very strange, Duke, that, you would think that most of those airplanes, those commercial flights are airtight, but it seems like every time you're landing in Newark International Airport, that actual clothespins drop from above your head. Forget the gas mask, just the clothespins.
You're going to need this breathing apparatus to ensure your health and safety. We'd appreciate it if you'd do the women and children first and then put it on your own nose. All right. Well, never mind that. That's great. I mean, so 3 for 3 with Dino going the opposite way, whatever he picks. And what's interesting about him is even though he claims to have no money, somehow he always has a wagering interest in these games. And then beyond that, I don't know, that guy Seamus that was taking your bets over there at Vinny's. He refused to even look at you yesterday.
Seamus McSeamus.
Yeah,
yes. No, and it's funny that the actual selection.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say, what is an Irish guy doing working the bar there and taking action at Vinny's? Everything that comes out of the kitchen has like enough garlic on it to satisfy, the entire town of Sicily. No, it's a great place. I mean,
it's one of my favorite spots. You know that. The food is really good. I mean, no matter what you're going to say. But the funny thing was that Dino's other selection came on Sunday when he boldly proclaimed that Tom Brady would have one of the greatest games ever as they traveled up to the Meadowlands to play the New York stinking Jets with a 14-point line there. That was I think the biggest line of the year for the Jets, getting 2 touchdowns from Brady and crew, which Dino, said that they're going to beat them by 30. So I immediately jumped on the Jet bandwagon and took the 14 points. And that was pretty much an easy ride from the opening kickoff. Dino 0-2 on his New Jersey selection.
Yes, obviously he's been impacted by the smell of losing that has been coming out of the Meadowlands for him. And that was great too. And only the Jets could blow that game for you on the money line, which had to be I think it was 14 and a hook, the final line on that game. And you probably saw it vary between 14 and 15 points, but I saw 14 and a hook. So what is the money line equivalent of that? I mean, if you're talking about a handful of points gets you 3-1. The money line equivalent had to be like 6-7 to 1, or something in that neighborhood. If you had taken the Jets and leave it to the coach there to just completely blow it. I mean, what is this guy thinking? Why not go up 7? So if Brady comes back in the final couple of minutes, as he's been known to do, and drives Tampa Bay for a touchdown, at least you're still in a tie. You don't lose the ball game.
Yeah, money line players were jumping off the George Washington Bridge, I'm sure, because the money line was 6.25, a 6.25 for one. Yeah,
nice,
pretty handsome payoff. And you're thinking, hey, Salad, go up 7, right? And then they run a quarterback sneak on a 4th and 2.
Yeah, and the quarterback. It's not like they have a quarterback who's 6'6", 300.
Yeah,
it's not like they have literally Wilson's not a big dude, and it was a 4th and
Two.
It wasn't like 4th and a quarter or something. Like it was a stupid.
You don't know that Jim Nance, or Jim Brown, couldn't go through that line and get 2 yards when everybody's piled in there, and you're going to run a sneak with a guy that looks like Opie from the old Andy from Mayberry show? Are you kidding me? He's going to plow his way under these guys, as if he had some kind of gophering ability, and somehow come up with a deuce. Didn't happen, and so you literally handed Brady the game on. It was like a little knish at a bar mitzvah on a silver platter. There, yeah. Do you have kasha? Oh, only potato. Okay, I'll take 2 of those. Crazy stuff, right? But did you have a little taste on the money line there, just based on the fact that Dino was so in favor of the idea that the Jets had no shot and were going to get blown out by 3 touchdowns?
Yeah, usually I would jump on the money line, but in that situation, I mean, you really had to think that, okay, well, 14 was a nice offering, but for the Jets to actually win the game, I just thought that was going to be a throwaway. But, I mean, when it was down to that last play, like you said, I mean, the quarterback sneak, well, it wasn't very sneaky because I think the whole stadium knew what was coming, but, what a bad call.
Pretty awful, yeah. And if they had done almost anything else, they would have not only gotten the 2 yards, but waltzed into the end zone for the game-clinching touchdown. You could kind of see the way that thing was going, the way the lead was evaporating slowly but surely. And you would not have expected the Jets to come back and actually mount enough of a charge where they were in a position to either ice the game or make it extremely difficult for the Buccaneers to do anything but take that thing into overtime. And, of course, they found a way to, as the Jets have been known to do, for lack of a better phrase, they found a way to fuck it up. Well, what about this week now? A lot of people are on the Jets bandwagon again, Jersey Kyle, Mr. Jet. And a lot of people are thinking that they cover what I believe is like a 16 and a hook spread against the Buffalo Bills. The Bills with many incentives to win this ball game and win it big, maybe ice it early. And they're going against the Jet team that really did hold Tampa Bay more than accountable in that ball game, even though they lost it just a week ago. They're a little better than they were in, say, the midway point of the season when they looked like absolute trash. The last few weeks, even though they continue their losing ways, they've been making a more representative showing. So would you be inclined to take a massive number of points in this game against the Bills? 16 and a hook right now.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I think that Jet effort last week was probably all you're going to get out of the stinking Jets for the rest of this season. I think a lot of guys are packing up and heading home. But yeah, I mean, listen, 16 and a half, that's a lot of points. I mean, if you want to take that shot, it's always nice to know that you're ahead by 16 and a half as the opening kickoff starts. But not really a bet I think I'm going to take this week. I think I'm going to stay off of that one. I was looking at a little bit of interest because I think you actually may be going down to the game courtesy of our friends at Deel Volkswagen to watch a little Dolphins and the New England Patriots coming up this Sunday.
Unfortunately, my interest in that game is weighing down to Blutarski levels, 0.0. But, and you can almost justify it being a sports fan my whole life. And, I've had the pleasure and opportunity to go to like a zillion games on freebies at various stadiums all around the country, around the world for that matter. And so, I mean, it was always a thrill to go to a ball game. But do I feel like schlepping down to Hard Rock Stadium to watch Dolphin Drek? That would be the question. And we've been exploring this theme throughout the week. I don't know if you had a chance to catch any of the shows, Jersey Kyle, but and that is, the worst job in sports right now. We always deemed to be the teaser horse at a stud farm. But I mean, we've been in that position, have we not? Many times. Teaser horse at a stud farm where you're getting nothing. And that beautiful babe is walking right past you and straight into the arms of Stormcat. How many times did that happen? In fact, I'm seeing some recent photos of a former flame of yours now gallivanting around the world with another guy that appears to be about 30 years her junior. Certain woman who was obsessed with you for many, many years and will still be, will still be. And it's possible she's only posting those pictures for you to see, even though they're going very public. How do you feel about that?
How do you feel about that? Why are you?
He's in Honduras with your babe, and I think that's the message she's trying to send you. And that's really, I mean, never mind this chick that was ratting out Facebook for trying to influence kids to take dangerous drugs or whatever it was. I mean, this is where the evil of this particular social media application lies, and that is exes who want to get revenge.
He's happy. You're a jerk.
I don't think that was the original theory Zuckerberg.
You imagine he's sitting there smoking some weed with those other guys he ripped off in that Harvard hotel room, dorm room, and he says, you know what's going to happen here? Exes are going to take pictures with their current boyfriends. They're even going to pay like models to be with them and then sail away somewhere, some exotic location. We'll put the pictures up as if they were innocently being displayed to show her new happiness. But the real truth is she's just trying to zing Jersey Kyle.
Yeah, that's what Zuckerberg was talking about.
Yeah,
they put this guy in front of a congressional hearing when his evil, subliminal thoughts were being applied all along.
Jeez.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what he had in mind when he invented Facebook. But on another plane here, speaking about plane, the National Horse Racing Championship is coming up in 2.5 weeks. So
Nice.
I would suggest if you're joining us out in Las Vegas, and, bring plenty of masks and sanitizer and whatever you think you'll need to accompany yourself through the COVID desert out there. But we are heading out there. Our good friend, Don't Mention My Name, is taking a shot at the championship once again. And I think it's going to be a great thing for all degenerates to, rally around. And I'd like to see you. I did send you the flight information. So
Yes.
I'm hoping you book away and get on that plane with us.
I'm going to be traveling out there because I don't have enough time left to turn down the opportunity to go to Las Vegas. I'm looking at guys checking out in their 70s and, even 80-something, right? Who just checked out another famous guy. Peter Bogdanovich, the director. Wasn't he involved with like Sybil Shepherd, who was a babe at the time that everybody coveted? And you're thinking, Bogdanovich, what are you kidding me? It's kind of like that pairing, although, he was famous and obviously, very creative. And an immense talent when it came to movie making. But how about when that babe that you were eyeballing last night and we were trying to, take a couple of wagers on what kind of guy was going to sit down with her and what their relationship would be? Because it looked like one of those first-time starters off a dating app, didn't it? And she's there before he is, so she's already annoyed, sitting there staring into space there, trying to nurse that first Chardonnay before she's going to need several more when she sees what this guy really looks like. And you would have never pegged a guy showing up that looked like the guy that swooped in on your chick.
I mean, she was a really good-looking woman that was sitting there at the table, and then when Screech showed up from Saved by the Bell, I was a little...
And then you took odds on whether, they had been together for a long time or if she just got completely blindsided by a guy who swapped, his picture out on the dating site. And in reality, like as is the case, I would imagine many times with this kind of thing, looked nothing like the person. In fact, you would not have recognized the person in a lineup compared to their picture. Much like, they often talked about here on the show, fabled Keys Hotel brochure, where you get down to the Sunset Inn and you're saying, this can't be the place. Kind of like I felt when I went to St. Thomas to see the Dolphins practice for the first time. And I thought, I must have taken a wrong turn somewhere. There's no pro team that would practice in a dump like this. But anyway, so we were dead wrong about this person. Showed up and he seemed to be with her on a regular basis. So we lost both ends of the parlay. Ugly guy. Looked nothing like what you would think was commensurate with her, taste in looks. And then on top of that, they had been together forever. This was not a first-time starter on a fake-out blind date.
The one thing, though, that I did notice when the gentleman did, come walking up to the table, that, he would have been a very, very good contestant in your failed game show, Peace or No Peace. I don't know what that was on his head.
Jack into attempt at one of these. Jack, in the show, Amy, Peace would be a classic. It may be a little bit prohibitive in terms of certain liabilities of, making disparaging remarks about people and, no justification for showing them on TV while they were being secretly recorded. I don't know if that violates any FCC regulations, does it? Jersey, what do you think? But anyway, yeah, so you have to judge whether a guy's wearing a hairpiece or not, which are very popular here in South Florida. I mean, you find candidates all the time, especially marching around down there in a very active, as you said, section of town. The strip there on Commercial Boulevard, Lauderdale by the Sea, which, remember that when you could roll a bowling ball down that street and not hit a soul, at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night? And now look at it. Unbelievable the way that it's driving.
It's become quite the hot spot. But once again, Lauderdale by the Sea, I mean, just looking around, you have to figure that there is no COVID because actually tonight they're going to have a band out in the street and have a dance party. So you might want to come on up. I'd like to thank the governing body there in Lauderdale by the Sea because it's good times as normal.
It's Paul Revere and the Raiders, man, on the Jersey Shore all over again. Everybody's dancing on the beach. Just great. All right, Jersey. So what are you thinking? Would you bet against the Devil in the championship game? Or, are you more inclined to take 3 points with a guy who is 5-1 straight up when an underdog while coaching at Alabama and just shellacked this team by 24 points? Was that it? Or it was 17 points, right? 41-24? Was that the final in that game?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So it was 17. It was 17. It was 41-24.
17 points. All right. A wide enough margin that getting 3 seems like a very, very generous allotment. What do you think, Jersey Kyle?
I really look to the other, the people. I mean, I'm a big fan of Dino's selections and going the other way. So, I mean, I can imagine he likes to go, he likes to go with what, he thinks is a sure thing, and it's usually the wrong thing. So I think I'm going to have to just put that pick on hold until I speak to the guru of losers, the great Dino, at my favorite spot there. But you did a very nice rendition of Georgia. Your Ray Charles was coming out. So I may go that way. I don't know. It might be the way you sing or what Dino picks and go the other way. I'm not really sure.
No, I assure you there isn't a soul out there other than you that doesn't believe that I butchered that song in attempting to go, Georgia. You know what was great? One of my favorite sportscasters of all time was a guy named Jim Healy, and he was very popular on the West Coast. He had a show actually like on a country music station, KLAC or something like that. And he came on at 5 o'clock with a 15-minute sportscast where he used a lot of drops and a lot of, clips that he had accumulated over the years from different people saying absurd things way ahead of his time. It was brilliant. And all of L.A., no matter what was on the radio anywhere else, and this was kind of a radio town because everybody's stuck in their car, every radio had Healy's show blasting at 5 o'clock on KLAC. And anytime Georgia Frontieri was a controversial owner of the Los Angeles Rams at the time, and he would find any way to work that clip in there. Whenever he was talking about, he would never say her name. He would always say, and this was what was happening with, and then you get Ray Charles going, Georgia. And the guy was brilliant. Check him out. Jim Healy, one of my favorites of all time, a West Coast legend, much like the great Chick Hearn that probably was well known as, say, like a Marv Albert or something would be on the East Coast. All right, did you see the headline in the New York Post today, Jersey Kyle? Did you see the headline right under the condemnation of Joe Biden's statements about the former president, number 45, and his possible inspiration there and what transpired, a very hideous event in American history, January 6th there at the Capitol building, but in even bigger and bolder type. And I hold this up once again for our viewing audience. All bets are on. New York. This is going to, kind of lighten up traffic on the way. It's, the traffic across the bridge there going to New Jersey. But New York now has the sports betting app, Jersey Kyle. They're anticipating billions of dollars being bet, and it came with the usual warning, which was the fact that you could go broke doing this.
yeah, bet with your head not over it, Defo. I mean, but a great thing for New York, and I'm just I wish Florida could get this thing together because it's just not fair. I mean, come on, we want to get involved too.
Yes, I mean, I would imagine it'll be a day of inspiration and liberation for all of mankind when Florida. We will be the last state. Like Puerto Rico will be made part of the United States. They'll become the 51st state before Florida actually gets around to legalizing sports wagering in some kind of way that everybody the right thing, or at least close to it, is being done. And that certainly wasn't the case with that. What did you see them in the tunnel there, going under that Los Olas Bridge? Did you see them in the tunnel there, DeSantis and the Seminole tribe representatives, when they exchanged that attaché full of cash, and all of a sudden the next day, hey, we got a pact. An absolutely outrageously complicated set of rules and parameters that need to be set up. No problem, man. We saw them all right here. You guys are screwed. That I mean, and then it takes a long time to undo the mess that was done, and so we will be the last. We'll be annexing Puerto Rico. You want to take a line on that? Will we annex Puerto Rico as the 51st state before sports wagering is figured out here in the state of Florida? What do you think?
Well, I think you may be onto something there. We seem to be the slowest state when it comes to progressive moves like that. But again, let's see what happens. Let's hope for the best. Let's enjoy the championship game this weekend. Some good horse racing out at Gulfstream, and maybe we'll get together and we'll hang out and do some punching, as you like to say, at Gulfstream Park this weekend.
It'll be like early sparring sessions before we break, and go to a camp in Big Bear, as we get set for the extreme amount of punching that will be going on. I mean, massive screen to screen from 9:30 in the morning on in Viva Las Vegas. That's always a very refreshing. I mean, it's either an epiphany type experience where you realize you should never gamble again, or it becomes a complete refresher, a sort of deodorant for the brain there, where you just wash out all of that anxiety that you had betting at home, and you feel like, wow, if there is a heaven, I hope it's this, right? As long as there's wagering in heaven and screen to screen action, it was a good life, and I'm ready to go. That's it. With that, you keep up the good work there, Jersey Kyle. I hear you've been hitting a substantial proportion of your wagers, and huge cash payoffs, which is great. So don't let any of your friends that you haven't heard from for the last couple of years call you now that they feel like you're flush, which is you know how this works, especially early in 2022. So, is every call, every other call to your phone about somebody who needs money?
No, not every call, but you know what? Most of them. You're right.
every third call.
All right. We'll catch you, again next week, Jersey Kyle. Of course, hope to see you over the weekend, maybe punching away at the stream, certainly riding around, maybe with your daughter, Corey, and that new Tiguan. What a hell of a car, huh? The Tiguan is from Deel Volkswagen. And I feel, not badly necessarily for people that purchased, because, there are a lot of fine dealerships in the Volkswagen, with the Volkswagen brand here. And I think they, kind of are friendly with each other. It's like a friendly rivalry, like FSU Miami, more so than, say, Miami and the Gators, which there was a lot of hostility there. I think the Volkswagen community is fairly peaceful, as represented by the ultimate peace symbol, which was the Volkswagen van back in the 60s, right? You saw a van while you were hitchhiking on the New Jersey Turnpike, and you knew right away that they were going to stop and pick you up, correct?
Yeah, I mean, sure. And usually, in that van, there's a little party going on in the back of the van. So that was your hope that you got picked up by one of those. Sure.
It was customized, so you could get high, you could get laid, you could, sleep in it. And, it was a peace symbol on wheels. And that's kind of how you feel when you walk in and see Anna. in the showroom at Deel Volkswagen. Now, right now it's much more convenient for everybody to just do everything online. DeelVolkswagen.com. That would be the way to go. And you will see the full stock of inventory they have there. There was some difficulty getting cars there for a while, Jers, right? And, everybody was having the same problem because of the shipping backups. But now, it's full speed ahead, as they say. So everything's going great in 2022. The pre-owned vehicles are just unreal. And they have a separate showroom for those across the street, but you can see them all there and the great pricing for Deel Volkswagen at DeelVolkswagen.com. And anywhere in the world, man, you're going to save so much money that it's worth it to just look into this. I don't care where you're watching or listening to the show. Deel Volkswagen in Coral Gables, a great place at DeelVolkswagen.com. Everybody can shop there, and you're going to love the deals Anna and the team there at Deel Volkswagen will make for you at Deel Volkswagen, 3601 Bird Road if you're in town in the beautiful city there of Coral Gables. That land worth a lot of money. Jersey Kyle, did you see what happened there? I believe Shorty's Barbecue kind of borders on that turf. That same kind of plane that Deel Volkswagen is on. They just sold the land of what was like a hot dog stand for $15 million. Pretty incredible. So let's hope they keep selling cars there for the sake of the show. All right, Jersey, great job as always. We're going to have Mark Lawrence and the professor coming up here, pick some games for you. Of course, the college championship is Monday night, and then the full slate of final season, regular season NFL games with a lot at stake, including a lot of playoff berths. So some sporting insight, and then later on, a Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo, with us here on the show on a Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, brought to you by Gulfstream Park here on ION Channel, the Defo Show, sports wagering in New York, man. That's unbelievable. Is that a development that's going to have gargantuan impact on the degenerate world? So that all starts tomorrow. We'll see what kind of revenues they generate. I would imagine they break all records of any state the very first day, no?
100%. It's so stupid.
12-year-olds on their phone going, okay, Raj, thanks. Thanks for the tip. I'm going to go ahead and plunge on the Jets. Some 9-year-old wins like an 11-team parlay that he clicked on by accident on his mother's phone. All right, we're coming back with more here. Just getting underway here on a Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday on ION Channel, the Defo Show. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubitz. Returning in a moment with some hot handicappers and their selections on various things transpiring over the weekend and in the next couple of days with the game on Monday night. Back with more in a moment.
The time.
8:01 on the East Coast. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. What if I told you you could go to a great restaurant, feel completely safe because their COVID protocol is unmatched, have an amazing meal, have a great time. When the bill comes, you won't get sticker shock. You're going to say, that's too good to be true. No, it's not. Because I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. Great family atmosphere, great atmosphere for a couple, great atmosphere if you just want to go by yourself and watch a game and have the coldest beer in town. And while you're doing that, have the bed in town. All at Texas Roadhouse. Everything you get there is fresh every day and made sure it's served at your table, hot and ready to go. And the best part is you don't get sticker shock because the prices are amazing. Texas Roadhouse.
Hey, it's Mike Mayo for Even Keel Fish Shack. Corner of A1A and Commercial Boulevard at Lauderdale by the Sea. It's my favorite place now for great seafood in a casual beachfront setting. They've got happy hour 4 to 7 Monday through Friday. They've got great dishes like grilled oysters and oysters on the half shell, bang bang shrimp, lobster rolls, octopus. They also have burgers and chicken for those who don't like the seafood. They're open 7 days a week for a lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch. Go to Even Keel Fish Shack, go say hi to Dave and Brad and tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call your insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone? You can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deel Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at deelvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deel a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deel Volkswagen. Mark Lawrence, burial last night with the hook, the dagger right there in the small of my back. That hook did me in again. I should know better. What would happen to you? We've asked you this before. If you actually were giving points in a ball game, would you be able to live with yourself or look yourself in the mirror the next day?
I would probably be ordering my last meal at the same time.
There's nothing better than Defo. It's now time for the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Morning once again, everybody, on this getaway day, a Friday on the Defo Show. It's a Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, brought to you by the great people at Deel Volkswagen and, of course, Gulfstream Park and all of our other fine sponsors as well, including Hialeah Park, which the boxing thing is going to be huge. Looking forward to that. Coming up on January 28th. And Destination Sport Miami still going strong, right, Lubie? Going towards the ultimate facility when it comes to indoor activities here. Going to be a multifaceted sporting facility of just grandiose proportions. So check that out if you're interested in the development of Destination Sport Miami. As Lubie has been checking on them down there in the Doral area, they have been moving along very nicely. Now, a pleasure to welcome this gentleman. He's been on fire for us all year long here on the show. And, of course, a world championship handicapper, very distinguished. The great Mark Lawrence joining us here. And, Mark, this struck me as I was looking at the headline today, sitting on the throne there on top of the New York Post, the front page, sports wagering now going to be legal on the phone apps, various sources where you can bet. And I think they have 4 carriers and our bookmakers that are carrying the action in New York. And now anybody can wager without having to cross the George Washington Bridge. And thank you, Jack Namer, for reminding me it's not the Verrazano. I think the Verrazano takes you into the southern part of Brooklyn there. You can get a Kanish when you get off the bridge there, but you could bet when you cross the George Washington. And in New York, now having sports wagering, and I thought about this, Mark Lawrence, because when people thought that you were wasting your mathematical genius by applying all of your various Pythagorean theories to sports wagering when you were developing a database, you never thought that your time was going to be never more in vogue and in focus than it is, after you've been doing this for years and years and years. Same thing with us in the broadcast business now, being almost geared entirely towards gambling. What do you make of this development? First of all, how is that going to impact the gambling world? And how good does it feel to be right at the epicenter of what everybody wants to know now, which is how you come up with these numbers?
Well, it's really, really nice to see New York finally get into the game. First of all, Defo, they've had legalized sports wagering available to them for better than a year now, and haven't been able to capitalize on it because politics wouldn't let them. They couldn't get together on the proper user application of an app. But we all know that all the entities have been taken care of, if you will.
I think that Silver guy is still doing time for a similar scheme. I think he even got greased on this one.
I think he did. Yes, he did. So now New York joins the new world, and that's what makes sports wagering as popular as it is largely because you can wager on an app. You don't have to go to a physical building or a physical presence to be able to go make your wagers. You can do it on the run, on the mobile, on your app. And that's what New York is going to end up surpassing New Jersey because of that. A lot of New Jersey's handle and take right now comes from New Yorkers crossing over into New Jersey and playing in New Jersey, in the physical state of New Jersey. So they'll lose a lot of business there that way. And right now, as you and I speak here today, New Jersey is number one in the country with legal sports wagering, overtaking the state of Nevada.
There are a few restrictions that have been placed on this action, including one of my favorites here is that credit cards can be used to fund accounts up to $2,500 per year.
Oh, Jesus.
So, I mean, think about how the world has changed, Mark Lawrence. Did you ever envision living long enough to see a day like this where you could not even deal with anybody, any kind of individual? There's no more, a Louis, in a back room somewhere going, now, what do you mean? Give him a line of credit. There's, a credit card, is fueling your account with some unknown entity that is existing, out there in the wagering universe. And you're able to send it in, every, I guess, I don't know, there's an age restriction also, but how do they know if little Johnny isn't sending in 300 on the Jets on the money line this week?
Well, those are good questions, and that's the things that they need to iron out and take care of, and they do a real good business with that. There's not been a lot of report of underage wagering taking place on apps here today, and I can go back to the day when I first became interested in this business. I was myself answering phones for Luigi, if you will.
So that's where it began.
Well, yeah, I like to say it began in study hall in high school when I loved math and sports and history. But Luigi reeled me in, is what he did.
Nice.
And so it's nice right now to be able to see everybody in their real world and be able to do what they want to do. And it's even gone beyond sports wagering. I'm working with this company now called Super Draft, which is owned by Caesars. And Caesars is basically for people that love to do fantasy sports wagering, or fantasy wagering, I should say. But inside of the app, aside from just doing fantasy wagering, you're also going to be able to play into Caesars Sportsbook. You're also going to be able to play into their casino games and things like that. So it's all going to be in the palm of a person's hands. They won't have to be able to go physically to a casino or physically to a sportsbook. You can do it on a mobile app.
I may have to file some kind of, objection there in some federal court if the Mustang gets a hold of the ability to play slot machines for real at home.
Oh, no.
There goes mom's inheritance money right up in smoke, man. And, she would be horrified to think that that's how it was being spent. I thought you were going to buy a house. Mark Lawrence with us here on the show, World Championship handicapper Mark Lawrence. And, of course, this would be a final and very difficult, I think, week of NFL games, because you have games where there's a lot at so-called stake for the teams that are involved. 7 playoff spots, or 7 teams eligible for 2 playoff spots in the AFC alone. So a lot of incentive there to go out there and win for many, many teams. And, it's also a week where you don't know who's playing. So we want to get into that. And yet I wanted to explore with you the college game. And I don't know, if you want to reveal the selection of playbooksports.com here on the show, because people could tap into it. And, of course, you want your subscribers. But where are we missing the point of this whole thing? And that is we borrowed some of your phraseology, and we call it the don't bet against the devil theory, which, includes Jim Baker, who ended up doing time betting against the devil. Tammy Faye also got thrown into the slammer, did she not? And then Swaggart was just disgraced. He didn't actually do any prison time. We were corrected on our chat line about that. But, how do you bet against Nick Saban in this spot? I would imagine all of your trending information leads you to believe that, and he is, I guess, 5-1 straight up when an underdog in the 6 situations.
That's crazy.
Since he took over in Alabama, that he's actually been an underdog in any game. So, what do you think about the don't bet against the devil theory, first of all, as it applies to Nick Saban?
Well, let me say this. First of all, there's a reason that the Georgia Bulldogs are favored in the football game, and the real reason is it's because Odds makers are handicappers, and what they do is they establish power ratings to every team that they do, and they apply their power ratings to make a point spread. They did that 2 games ago when Georgia met Alabama, and they installed Georgia as a 6.5 point favorite. It ended up looking to be, in the end, was a bad line because obviously Alabama won the football game comfortably. Now they come back 2 games later, they cannot move the line to the other side being favored in a football game after having just installed them 6.5 point favorites 2 games ago. They have to live within their power ratings. And that's the reason you're still seeing Georgia favored here today. Favored a little bit less in this game than they were 2 games ago, but nonetheless still favored in the football game, 2.5 or 3 points. That's the reason Georgia's the favorite in the game. Now, as far as the game itself is concerned or plays out, there are reasons other than the power ratings that Georgia deserves to be the favorite in the football game for the way they played. The only team that's ever scored more than 17 points against Georgia this year was Alabama. They've held everybody to 17 or fewer points. They're the number 1 defensive team in the country. You can go on and on about Georgia. Alabama does have this terrific record under Nick Saban as an underdog. Saban in his career has a terrific record as an underdog. And in fact, Saban in his career has 25-1 against former assistants. So he beats the pulp out of the teams that are coached by his former assistants. There's a lot of good things trending both ways in this football game. So what it comes down to me is this, and you guys know my take and my side in games. And if you cannot make the case for the underdog, you don't play the game or you look to the total in the football game. You can make a case for Alabama here, obviously, but I'll say this. There are 2 things that come to Georgia's favor heavily in the game. Number one, there have been 3 times teams in the college football playoff have come back as a defending champion, and all 3 times they've lost and failed to beat the spread.
Oh, wow.
And number 2, there have been 3 times in the college football playoff where a team has gone into that game and has been seeking revenge, and all 3 times they've won and covered the spread seeking their revenge. Those are factors that favor Georgia in a contest like this, okay? So you have to be at least aware of what it is you're going into. You know, if you don't go in blindly with Alabama, you have to be at least aware of what it is you're going to do. Now, can Saban overcome all that? Likely. Maybe he can. But to me, what I see in this football game are 2 teams with staunch defenses. Alabama has held 8 opponents to season-low yardage marks this year. Georgia has held 6 opponents to season-low yardage marks this year. If this game goes over the Vegas total, I'll be greatly surprised because you're going to lock the horns with 2, really, like I'm saying, really staunch defensive football teams here. My play in the football game would be under 52.5 points. I think this will be a defensive war, and he who scores last wins the football game.
Oh, I mean, spoken with great authority there, Mark Lawrence, all based on sensational and highly qualified numerology, which is amazing. Did they think you were wasting your time in like grade school, Mark, when you had all of this mathematical ability and all you were doing was looking at the point spreads in the newspaper when they had like the current events portion of the of your education?
No, it was because I was convincing the teachers to take the points. As they learned along the way, they also profited. So I became a teacher's pet.
Mark, what did you learn today? Take the points. Okay, very good. Yeah, you're in the 3rd grade. All right, so the under is you're playing that ball game based on a theory that you don't necessarily totally buy into. Don't bet against the devil end, but you are inclined to always play the underdog, and with Alabama as an underdog and the statistical trending material that you have on Nick Saban, you would think that would also be a very tempting play. But good logic there, too, because you had to think that somehow Georgia will find a way to adjust to what was a decimation late in that game when all of a sudden Alabama was just moving the ball at will down the field and they were missing tackles. And you would think that they might be able to, as coaches like to say, we got a few things we got to clean up. So it should be very exciting. All right, we want to let you dive into the pros here. Mark Lawrence, PlaybookSports.com, World Championship handicapper with us here, likes the under in the college championship game. And you have a couple of pro picks for us here, a lot of big point spreads.
Yeah, we're going to look at the 2 games here this week, Defo. And just remember this, when you go into the final week of the NFL football season, you're oftentimes paying a luxury tax. if you want to play the obvious teams. And luxury tax being that teams who need wins, they're being impacted with the line, and you end up having to pay a price that you would never have considered had the situation not been here the final week of the season. Those are the types of games that we want to ignore for the most part. You don't want to end up having to pay twice as much as you would normally for a car or a house or to make a play in a football game. So what I'm going to do instead is focus in on two theories of mine that have worked really, really well for me in the years, over the years. And two of them come together in both of these plays. It's called my 4x4, the standard running dog, the guy that runs the ball for 4 yards of carry, the guy your opponent will allow 4 yards of carry. And we couple it with what we call triple revenge exact, or Y3, triple revenge exact. Yes, they have revenge.
Well, I don't recall that one being invoked before, the triple revenge exact. Yeah, that's a great one. I was going to go redheaded stepchild on this week when you said the 4x4 was, in conjunction conundrum with, some other theory. All right. Okay. Give us that one again. The triple revenge exact.
Triple revenge exact. And what it means is if you beat me 3 times, I'm not going to lose to you the 4th time. If I do, it becomes domination. And then all of a sudden you own me. So we stop it at triple revenge exact is where we do. And you get the best effort from these teams to halt that series losing streak at 3 in a row. So you put triple revenge exact together with 4x4s and you end up with some pretty nice sides in football games. And we've got 2 of them this week that both come together.
All right. Fire away.
All right. Number 1, Carolina Panthers taking 8 points from the Tampa Bay Bucks. Tampa Bay will most likely be sitting a lot of regulars this week, Tom Brady inclusive. And they're also lacking or hurting at the wide receiver position, Tampa is. So they have no reason or need or desire to even think about going out and becoming injured this week. You're going to play Carolina Panthers, who check the boxes with the 4x4 and the Y3, the triple revenge exact. But they were also beat 32-6 at home 2 games ago. Carolina was thoroughly embarrassed. And their head coach, Matt Rule, in his days, you go back to his college football days and his days with the Carolina Panthers, he's been outstanding in his career on the road. He's 38-18 to the spread in these particular roles. So you combine all this stuff together, check the boxes, we'll take Carolina plus the 8 for our first play.
All right, and that was based on the 4x4 Y2K theory. What was it? What was the thing with the Y, Mark? Y3. Yeah. It's you know what? It sounds like you're going to call a play, and we'll let you call the next game here. 4x4 Y3 5-1 right. Where else are we going on that pro slate? I would imagine we're getting a hefty allotment of points in this next game as well.
Well, we are, and we're going to get it because of quarterbacks being out. It being in this, we're going to play Cincinnati plus 6 against the Cleveland Browns without Joe Burrow. We're going to rely on Brandon Allen for the Cincinnati Bengals, but the Browns also do not have Baker Mayfield playing, so that's a squash. Cincinnati comes into the game. Cleveland's taken them out 3 straight times in a row in the series. You have a division champion taking points from the last place team in the division. And this line is also overreacted to because of that luxury tax with Joe Burrow not playing. We're going to take advantage of that, a situation just like that. And one time in his career, Brandon Allen made a start against the Cleveland Browns. It was his first start, and he beat the Cleveland Browns. He will not be intimidated against the Browns, who I think for all intents and purposes have likely thrown in the towel because their season went right down the drain throughout the course of the second half of the season. I think Cincinnati plus the 6 wins the game and gets themselves better prepared for the playoffs starting next week.
Beautiful stuff, as always, Mark Lawrence, PlaybookSports.com. How are you faring in the Westgate tournament?
I didn't do as well going out as we did starting. We won that first quarter of the contest. It was great news. I'm going to end up not cashing in it. There were 2,200 entries, and I'm going to probably finish about 300th in it. So it's 300 still a nice finish, but it's not what I was looking for. But I'm still just really, really thrilled over the fact that we were able to make a big score early on in the contest.
How sweet was that? Yeah, when you can get out early and then you're playing with so-called house money, as long as you don't play yourself into an even deeper grave It's always a good feeling. Mark, always a pleasure. Playbooksports.com. How can people? I mean, the numerology always fascinates me. And of course the theories are absolute classic strokes of genius. But how do people get more of your material and all of this great stuff to look over?
Well, everything we're doing, Defo, available online, playbooksports.com. All of our newsletters, our basketball newsletter starts next week. And if anybody out there listening is involved in fantasy sports, you can play with me at SuperDraft Pro, SuperDraftPro.com/superplay. So you can check that out as well. All available online, playbooksports.com.
Throughout this conversation, I've been envisioning young Mark Lawrence going, "Hey, Luigi, you going to give Schwartz 2 dimes worth of a credit line today? He wants to bet the Bullets." You're like, what? Classic Mark Lawrence.
The Pizza House down here. Exactly, right.
Even though the guy is stiffed, Luigi for the last 2 months. All right, a pleasure, Mark. Always great having you on the show. Some outstanding logic and selections here. We wish you the best of luck with your plays, and thanks for joining us on a Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday here on Ion Channel.
Be well, stay safe, guys. Good luck this weekend. Let's hope the ball bounces our way.
And Happy New Year's.
Very good. I mean, that Mike Lubitz was pure mathematical wizardry, was it not?
Spectacular. That was amazing. I love how he double theoried. That was great when he double theories.
That was a new theory, wasn't it? The 3-time revenge exact theory?
I've never heard that one. The 4x4 he's used a few times.
Yes.
3-time revenge one, I've never heard him use, and that sounds that sounds like Vitas Garolitis. No one beats us 4 times, so.
Yeah. And Cincinnati with the backup quarterback against Cleveland with a backup quarterback. Who is the backup quarterback for Cleveland? He mentioned the guy's name.
The Cleveland, I don't know. Cincinnati said Brandon Allen. I don't know Cleveland's backup.
I'd hate to be somebody that had to get out this week. For the season. I don't mean just get out, take a walk. Talking about get out for the season, because it's tempting, I mean, you're thinking you know something about what's going on, and you have no idea what's really going to play out this week. If ever there was a week of helter-skelter football in the National Football League, it looks like this one, with a couple of giant point spreads that you would have to be tempted to take. Right? Double digits in the NFL is a huge factor. I would imagine very favorable to those that were inclined to take the points.
Yep. Especially this week.
People, I mean, I don't know what it is. Is that just basic human nature to have faith in those that appear to be good? Right? And that's why people like the favorites?
Yes, of course.
So think about it. I mean, the people have been getting buried, since the beginning of time. Right? Since guys were kicking skulls around and they were betting soccer when Cro-Magnon man was occupying the planet. And, guys were taking the under on 0 goals. Must have been hard to score when they were kicking, rocks around and skulls back in the day when soccer was first invented. But, you have to think, right? The house has been winning forever.
Yes.
And what are they doing? Essentially, they're backing the underdog.
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder what it is in the history of life. Lubie, you think anybody could ever come up with that number? The all-time record of all sports wagering. Anyway, it's coming to New York City, and coming up, the professor here on the show, Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, going to be with us as well. It's the Defo Show here on Ion Channel. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubitz. Having a great time with you on this Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Oh, man, could I use a visit down there for the weekend, Lubie? A lot of tensions up and down. I try not to react. You always have to try to figure, well, what can I do about this?
Exactly.
I mean, there's no point, wishing and hoping and praying. Very practical. You got that from Jimmy Johnson. I am not a dreamer, man. You have to be a person of dedication and a certain amount of practicality. So, there's a way to cut through the tension. But the real way, I mean, is just to plan a visit. Even if it's just to go down there for the day. Is the Keys in Key Largo and Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 there on the Overseas Highway. You get out of Florida City, and the aroma of some of the great food coming out of the kitchen already hits you, and it overtakes, I don't know, is there kind of a little bit of a stench there, Florida City? Right? You got gas stations. You got that restaurant that's been there forever, the Mutineer. We ate there, remember, when we were staying in Homestead for the race? The Mutineer?
Yes. That's all right.
You went in there and thought you were in some hillbilly biker bar. outside of Gainesville. You think we should stay, Defo? Yeah, what the hell? Let's take a shot, man. Right? It wasn't exactly like there were a lot of places open there. But, you jog down from there if you're in the car, and which you would have to be, I would suppose. And sure enough, there's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, and it is like an oasis in the middle of the desert. Just great when it comes to any kind of Keys location. You're going to love the food. You're going to love the atmosphere. You're going to love the hang. You're going to love the view. And the accommodations are great, too. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill, Larry Calvano and the crew down there, they do a tremendous job. There's just a great vibe there also. And they have the sports bar. Great place to watch the national championship game if you're tempted to tip a few. They're coming up on Monday night. Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill. Mile marker 104, Key Largo, the Overseas Highway. Check them out, jimmyjohnsonsbigchill.com. Everything out of the kitchen is dynamite. A lot of innovative stuff and the freshest seafood. Just absolutely a fantastic destination if you're on your way to the Florida Keys. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He's Mike Lubitz, the professor on the championship game. Is coming up next here on the Defo Show. And we'll be back with that in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:23.
Hey there, it's Mike Mayo. Do you like steaks? Do you like seafood? Do you like classic old Florida charm? You could get that all and more at Tropical Acres Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. It's at 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, just west of 95. The Studiali family, they've been running the place a long time. It's been there more than 70 years. And it is now a place you can get early bird specials along with steaks to take home and throw on the grill yourself at the Butcher Shop. That's open 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. It's open for dinner every night starting at 4:30, but they are closed on Sundays. Go to Tropical Acres. It's a place to go for a great meal, great people, good value. Tropical Acres.
The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the Village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled first floor casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at gulfstreampark.com.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Since day one of old school, we've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes, but it goes well beyond strokes, because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy. And if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat, 24/7. Catholic Health Services.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deel Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy, with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at dealvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deel a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deel Volkswagen.
How many gamblers did I bail out last weekend with my game of the year? A $100 better made $10,000. A $500 better made $50,000. Well, I got 6 games on Sunday that I'm releasing absolutely free. These games are a burial, a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your unborn children on these 6 games. Absolutely.
I believe.
We now return to the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Morning once again, everybody. A Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, brought to you by the people at Gulfstream Park. Jeff Deforrest, Mike Lubie, Lubitz with you here on On Channel. Jack Namer's fine organization, also under the auspices of the lovely Amy, and the technical wizardry is helping us along here. Brad Schiller is at the controls there. Mike Lubie, Lubitz, sort of at the master of controls here on the program, and joining us right now. Handicapped this college championship game, our college football expert, and a guy who does a dynamite job, had a big season for us here on the show, and I think had a pretty good year for himself. We welcome the professor to the program. Professor, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, Defo. How are you doing this week?
Doing all right. You know what? I had a lot of mind bets working on those college bowl games, and it seemed like, especially early on, the theory of always take the points in the college bowl games was coming up real big. It might have leveled off as the bowl season progressed. But what was your overall assessment, excluding the semifinal games, which I'm sure we'll talk about here, of the college bowl season from a betting standpoint?
I mean, from a betting standpoint, I think you have to say the college bowl season, what's along with the main story of the college bowl season in general, which was kind of dominated by COVID and the opt-out issues, and led to a lot of upsets, a lot of situations where you probably should have taken the points, and a lot of situations where you probably shouldn't have taken the points, but it kind of worked out anyway, which is, what sort of happened to me, and where I got real cautious is I had bet Missouri. I think they were plus 6.5 against Army like an hour before the game. I tune in the game and find out in the hour since I've bet it, Missouri has lost 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, and 4 out of 5 starting offensive linemen to COVID.
Always good to know, yeah.
An hour.
Luke, cancel my bet.
Covering the game. A little miracle. They ended up covering the game anyway, but I think that's sort of the caveat to this entire bowl season is I don't think you can comfortably place a bet more than, 5 minutes before the game. So for people who like to try to jump on those early lines and whatnot, it ended up being kind of a bad proposition.
All right. Alabama pretty much did what you might expect against Cincinnati. They really ground them down to a nub, kind of dominated that game all the way through, even though it took them a while to pull away and ultimately put the game on ice. And Georgia just absolutely decimated a Michigan team that I was given a shot. I don't know how you felt about the game, but I thought 7 and a hook with Michigan, the way they were playing, probably was the right side to be on. Couldn't have been any more wrong. I mean, hit right in the face with a haymaker as Georgia dominated throughout. So what were your thoughts on the semifinal games that were played leading up to what will be the championship game on Monday night?
I think what you got from Alabama was that sort of trudging victory that Saban likes to use in that situation. They didn't put a lot on film. They played very vanilla, both sides of the football. Basically knew going in that they were going to win just on personnel and got exactly the result they would expected. So, I think for Saban and Bill O'Brien, a very good and easy spot where they could sort of cruise and keep some things in their pocket and not put it on film for Kirby Smart and his defense. Georgia and Michigan, I thought, and as it got closer to the game, it's why I shifted from not playing to playing Georgia on a half a point buy down. I brought it down to 7. 2 very similar football teams that wanted to do very similar things, and Georgia just had better personnel. I mean, you go into the game, 2 teams that like to run the ball sort of straight at you, and then use their running backs and tight ends in the passing game because neither quarterback's particularly adept at throwing the wide receiver. Well, you get into that, Georgia had linebackers who can run with Michigan's tight ends and running backs. And Michigan, who had some good defensive personnel, particularly on that defensive line, just didn't have the linebackers to compete. And I thought that was the pretty obvious key in the game. And James Cook ended up being the key factor for Georgia in moving the ball in that one.
The professor with us here on the Defo Show, a Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, brought to you by Gulfstream Park here on On Channel. Just Google the Defo Show. They all pop up. It's fantastic. The entire archives, you can see and track the evolution of the show. Man, that looked bad in the beginning. No, it was always great, and these guys have done a terrific job for us here at On Channel. The professor, and we want to get his viewpoint on the championship game. Do you subscribe, Professor, to our theory of don't bet against the devil? In other words, always take points if you're getting them with Nick Saban, especially since he's been in Alabama now. This will be the 7th time I think he's been an underdog in a game. He is 5-1 straight up, and the one game that he lost to the spread, which was the only game that he lost, was to the University of Florida back in 2008. So, and in that game he was getting 10, and they lost by 11. So, pretty formidable number there if you're a trend player. Nick Saban getting points, but what do you think about the don't bet against the devil theory? I mean, would you always take points? You've been an Alabama advocate, I want to say, all season long.
Okay, here's the thing with Nick Saban, and when you say don't bet against the devil and whatnot, and people are going to bring up the Nick Saban versus his assistant thing. The only loss is to Texas A&M earlier this year.
Yeah, Jimbo
Fisher.
Yeah.
It's not so much Saban as it is the players he recruits. Saban doesn't win on particularly advanced strategy. Saban wins on personnel. So don't bet against the devil, yes, but it's less Saban the field coach and more Saban the recruiter because, once again, he's got a team sort of custom built to do things the way he likes to do them. And, again, I agree with you, but for slightly different reasons. I don't think it's because Saban has any particular coaching voodoo in this situation.
Wins by 17 last time out, getting 3 this time. And Mark Lawrence recommended playing the under, thinking both defenses were going to become very difficult to overcome in this game. And, sometimes you have players on edge that doesn't always get off to a hot start offensively under these circumstances. And, likely so with the two defensive units that they have out there. But what's your thought on the championship game? Which way are you inclined to go?
Yeah, I heard Mark Lawrence talking about the game, and I agree with him in terms of how the line is created. The line makers are using power rankings that are derived throughout the year. So, yeah, they may not drop it down from 6.5 to Pick'em or 6.5 to Alabama -1, even though that's probably somewhere. I would probably personally set this line somewhere like Alabama -1 or 2. But I agree with Mark Lawrence. That's why this line is where it is, which a lot of people have questioned. Here's the thing to me. There are common elements among the offensive that have done well and have beaten Nick Saban. Number one, a mobile quarterback. You go back to Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel had a lot of success against Nick Saban. Deshaun Watson had a lot of success against Nick Saban. Trevor Lawrence had some success against Nick Saban. The common element there, these are guys who were athletic quarterbacks, but didn't necessarily do it as runners. They used their feet to avoid sacks, stay in the backfield, and keep their eyes downfield and make big plays in the passing game by using their feet. That's not Stetson Bennett. Stetson Bennett is actually surprisingly athletic, but when he uses his feet, he uses his feet to run the football. He does not use his feet to move around and create plays downfield, so Georgia doesn't have that. Number two, big wide receivers, because for whatever reason, maybe a Napoleon complex or because Nick Saban is, 4'11" and was a defensive back. Nick Saban has always had a passion for small, fast cornerbacks, and the way teams to success, particularly when you go back to that game where he got blown out against Clemson a few years ago, big wide receivers have always been a key. Big wide receivers who can win jump balls, one-on-one situations have always been a key to putting up a bunch of points against Alabama. Again, Georgia, they do have one big wide receiver, but most of their guys are average size. They do not have a lot of that. Number three, a good slot receiver. You can go back to, Deshaun Watson and the kid from Clemson who's with the Raiders now, whose name I'm blanking on for some reason, even though he was at Clemson for like 12 years. And you saw that against LSU 2 years ago, used Jordan Jefferson in the slot very effectively against Alabama. Again, Georgia doesn't have an ace slot receiver. So you look at these common elements that have done well against Saban in the past. Georgia doesn't really present any of those. Georgia, like I said, in the passing game, they like to use Bowers as tight end. They like to use Cook. They like to use the other running backs. Alabama's linebackers are plenty athletic to run with those guys. So I don't look at this as a favorable matchup for Georgia at all. I have my doubts about Stetson Bennett, period, as a questionable quarterback. So my conclusion on this game is take the points. I don't know. Again, and then you go back to Georgia's defense, which I'm not disagreeing, is excellent. But if they do have a weakness, it's in the defensive backfield. And I think Alabama exploited that last time. And the other thing, Georgia's primary strength, the greatness of their front seven, particularly the defensive line, to be able to get pressure without defense. I think Bryce Young offsets that some because, number one, Bryce Young's key skill, he gets the ball out of his hands ultra fast for a kid his particularly for a kid his age. He makes great pre-snap reads. When he has to come off his primary, he does it very quickly, and he's very accurate with the football. So I don't know that I think Alabama's necessarily going to make a ton of deep offensive plays, but I think they can keep moving the football with a controlled passing game here and use Bryce Young's ability to get the ball out of his hands to keep Georgia's defensive line a little bit at bay. I think everything here points to Alabama. I'm definitely taking the points. I would be inclined, honestly, to take Alabama on the alternate line, which is -7.5 plus 75. I would not be surprised to see Alabama come away with like a 10-point, 14-point victory here again and control the football game much the way they did the first time around.
The subliminal sickness of that reference to the reverse anti-Christ line of -7.5 at plus 375 was brilliant by the professor. Yeah, you know what? My inclination, I thought when the line came out the first time I checked it, I thought I was going to see Alabama -1 or a pick 'em.
Yeah.
And I did not expect to see, I think it was 2 and a hook when it first came out, Georgia being the favorite in that game, and then favored by 3 now. So, you know, I mean, sometimes you go with your instinct, you know, if you thought you had a feel for what the line should be, and it looks like you're getting a generous allotment going the other way, may as well stick with the devil. And I'm with you. I kind of like playing Alabama in this game. Professor, always a pleasure, my friend. And the Foundry going strongly. I've passed by there a few times recently, driving by, always packed. So congratulations on that fine restaurant here in Pompano Beach, Florida, where the show originates from. And always a pleasure, my friend. Do you have any interest in grabbing my Patriot tickets for Sunday?
Yeah, actually I do, because I need to go down there and do what I've done the last couple of years, which is take the flyer and inform Dolphins fan that there's a sexual predator in the neighborhood.
Oh, no.
That,
Right, yeah.
And therefore watch your wives and your daughters and your children, because, you know, the man's a sex offender.
Yeah, you know what? If that had to be a shock, the guys that were surveying the place, they were under surveillance for some other reason, right? And they see this guy with a blue jacket, a blue and white collared shirt, walking in there, and they go, "Isn't that the guy that owns the Patriots?" What's he doing here? It's some cheesy Asian brothel in the middle of Jupiter, Florida.
Since he had been there at least 4 other times when the police were observing the place, I'm going to say it wasn't a surprise at all that they probably figured he would exactly be there.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't buy the place so he could find an easier way out. Although they tended to drop that case in a hurry, which came as no surprise.
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, billionaire gets away with crime. What a shock. Never heard that before.
All right, Professor. We had to let you get that in. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, Professor. Always a pleasure, my friend.
One other thing, Defo.
Yeah.
One other one, since the season is coming to an end, and that means we're desperate. We're also taking North Dakota State -7.5 in the FCS championship game tomorrow at noon.
All right, good. Yeah, one last whack at college football there. What is that, like Division 8?
FCS.
What level of oh, okay.
FCS.
That's what used to be 1AA, the FCS.
Okay. All right, very good, my friend. North Dakota State, you said, getting points. All right, thanks. Appreciate it, Professor.
Every year. It's not hard.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for being with us.
All right, Happy New Year.
The professor was on fire in that dissertation on the Alabama-Georgia game, was he not?
Yes, sir.
3 trends that favor Nick Saban in the game. Unable or would normally be detrimental to Nick Saban. 3 trends that go against a Nick Saban coach team. And Georgia is able to take advantage of none of them.
No.
How about that? 0 for 3.
That's
First one, right? Smallish cornerbacks against big wide receivers. Then he was talking about what? Mobile quarterbacks. I don't know. There was a lot of them there. There were slot receivers, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Those are the
Good
3
stuff.
big receivers. These are all the things Alabama struggles with, and Georgia doesn't have any of them.
Nothing. We got nothing. What do we got there, Kirby? Nothing. All right, coming back, the Gambling Gourmet, Mike Mayo on some sports and some food. And a lot of fun things to talk about with Mike Mayo. He's coming up next. The Gambling Gourmet here as we round out the Defo Show on this fine Friday, a Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday on ION Channel. And we extend the show a little bit here to accommodate the Gambling Gourmet. So we'll be with you this morning till 9:30 Eastern. So stick around. I'm Jeff Deforrest. He is Mike Lubitz, returning with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:48.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. What if I told you you could go to a great restaurant, feel completely safe because their COVID protocol is unmatched, have an amazing meal, have a great time. When the bill comes, you won't get sticker shock. You're going to say, that's too good to be true. No, it's not, because I'm talking about Texas Roadhouse. Great family atmosphere, great atmosphere for a couple, great atmosphere if you just want to go by yourself and watch a game and have the coldest beer in town. And while you're doing that, have the best bread in town. All at Texas Roadhouse. Everything you get there is fresh every day and made sure it's served at your table, hot and ready to go. And the best part is you don't get sticker shock because the prices are amazing. Texas Roadhouse.
Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone? You can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side.
Hey, it's Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet here for my friends over at Shenanigans Sports Pub. It's a great place to go to take in a game, a good meal, and a couple of drinks. My friend Patrick, he's been doing it a long time, and he's got 2 locations. West side is right across from TY Park in Hollywood. And then the east side location is at 1300 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach. Shenanigans is the place for wings, burgers, barbecue, fresh fish, anything you want, drink specials, late night dining, outdoor dining. It is the place to go, family friendly. Go to Shenanigans and tell them the Gambling Gourmet sent you.
He'll fight Brian Cox in the locker room. He'll challenge Bill Parcells to a verbal shout out. He'll stare down Johnny Chan while holding pocket twos.
And then he goes
Mike
to
Mayo,
the London
Gambling
Business
Gourmet.
School for the savants.
How about that? Yeah.
I will crush
London
your
School
hopes
of
and
Finance.
dreams with it.
Mike
Oh,
Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, joins us here.
I do all those things, and I also crush your hopes and dreams with a 3-word text giving you the bad news about game 1.
Well, this was particularly brutal, and Michael, I thank you for doing that.
The modern day odd couple, Defo and Lubie, are on now. It is, of course, the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show, Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday. I'm Jeff Deforrest, along with Mike Lubitz, and we welcome to the program. And we got to him a little bit late because we did get carried away, although some fascinating input on both the college and pro games from Mark Lawrence and then later on the professor. We welcome the Gambling Gourmet Mike Mayo, who was a longtime sports writer for the Sun Sentinel, a South Florida Sun Sentinel, major newspaper here in the South Florida area, then became the food critic and parlayed that into just an entrepreneurial type enterprise, as he now has radio shows and Let's Eat South Florida and all kinds of stuff going on, part of this show here on Ion Channel. The great Mike Mayo joins us here on the program. Michael, how are you, my friend?
Good morning, Defo. Good morning, Lubie. Happy New Year. It's been a few weeks, and I'll talk fast to make up for the lost time. But I got a lot of thoughts on my mind, especially reaction to some of the things that Mark Lawrence said that kind of just rocked my world. But I just want to start off by saying I hit the Powerball. I'm so
great.
excited.
Well, you wouldn't be here if that was true. So
no, I meant just the single Powerball, because my lucky number is 17, and Powerball came up 17, so I got my $2 back on
There
the
you go.
ticket. So that's I'm just rolling now. I'm gonna parlay that $2 into thousands of dollars at Gulfstream this weekend. I'm really, really jacked up.
Oh, very nice. And it's interesting because I got shut out. I was out that night, Wednesday night, when they had a drawing, and you're thinking it's probably going to be hit somewhere, so why not me? Odds are 292.2 million against having the winning ticket. I'm too lazy to put my own numbers in, so I always go with the arbitrary quick pick selections. And it's kind of like when you're a loser at the track, you've been losing like day after day, week after week, and the tellers start to snicker amongst themselves as you saunter towards the window. That's the way the guys are in the convenience stores when you start throwing a 20, taking a shot at this thing.
Here's the thing to me is like you said, 292 million to 1. Once you get over 800 million, you just hit the all button and you hope that more than 2 people don't hit it. And I think if you did it in this case, you'd still clear like 70 million, which isn't bad. But I guess you need the 292 million to start with or something like that.
Can you imagine rolling into Circle K there and you pick up like a 15 pack of 16-ounce beers? It's the same as buying 12-ounce beers. And, you save a lot of money on the price. And then you take $292 million worth of Powerball.
I guess the problem is because they're $2 tickets, so
Yeah.
the amount you have to spend to hit the all button is approaching 600 million. So
so you're a loser.
You would be a loser once there's multiple winners, and
You managed to lose $300 million, but you hit the Powerball,
that
which
would
is
be
remarkable.
bad. Hey,
I didn't mind getting shut out, but if you get shut out, do you hope that nobody hits it so that it just continues to roll over and you continue to? Because for some reason, like 20 million is not enough money for me to get interested in playing Powerball. It has to get up to like 500 million for me to start.
There's the other one, because now they have 2 dueling big multi-state lotteries, and the Mega Millions, I think, is still at 290 million or something. So that everybody's just going to start playing that because 20 million is not enough. And remember when Lotto used to be big, and that's just a single state thing for Florida. Now it's like the redheaded stepchild. Nobody plays it. It's only like 2 million or 3 million every week. And you know what? I hate the lottery. It's the worst pick. It's the worst play in the world. Any serious gambler knows that. But when it gets above a certain point, you got to throw a couple of shekels on it. You got to throw you $10 or whatever. So
how many times have you fantasized, now that you're taking a walk of life, of what you would do with the money? Who would be the guys that you took care of? Okay, I'll give Lubie $1 million, and then he looks at you, you cheap son of a bitch. You just picked up 600 million, and that's all I get for a lifetime of loyalty. And you never know how that's going to go. Like, are people going to be grateful that you laid like $1 million on them, or are they just going to say, "Yeah, what an asshole, man! He's got 600 million. This is all he has for me."
I would start a foundation, and the foundation would be called the
Degenerate Trust Fund.
Degenerate Trust Fund, and just all going towards poker and horse players, and maybe for those who facing hardships like me, who haven't hit a freaking exacto or trifecta or even a win. At this point, I just need to break the. I don't think I cashed a ticket of anything, and I haven't hit in a poker tournament like since November, since like Thanksgiving. So that's
I've been on ice also. I know the feeling.
And it's I thought the new year might turn things around, and I only played a little bit last week, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow because there's some good races, baby races, those maiden special weights for the 3-year-olds, newly turned 3-year-olds at Gulfstream. We'll get into that later. I wanted to ask you, did you catch that Knicks game last night? That was just pure fun.
Yeah, RJ Barrett with a bank shot from hell. And it goes in, and the Knicks win 108-105 over the Celtics. Good ball game, yeah. I mean,
it was a comeback. I mean, they were down 25.
25, yeah.
I turned it on. At first, I was watching hockey on ESPN, and then
I watched some of that. I happened to see all 3 Wild goals, which came in a very short period of time. And one was an absolute thing of beauty.
Oh, it was.
By like a former BC player who was back in Boston for his very first NHL game, and he scores like on a give and go. Fantastic. I mean, it was really good stuff.
It was gorgeous to see that goal. It's nice to see hockey back on ESPN. It'll get hockey some traction again. And just like you, Defo, I caught that goal, and then I said, "All right, I'm going to switch over. Is there a basketball game on?" And I turn it on. It's the Knicks are down by like 25 or something at that point against the Celtics at home at the Garden, and I sit there on the couch, and as usual, I pass out and I fall asleep because I figure, oh, this is in the game, and I happened to wake up with 44 seconds left, and all of a sudden the Knicks are only down by 2. And I said, wow, this turned into something. I just sat there and I said, I got to watch the end of this. And of course, it takes like 10 minminutes between all the timeouts. But there was a payoff, and that moment there, even though it's a kind of I don't want to say meaningless game, but it's middle of January. It's not exactly the key part of the year. Playoff position isn't really in play yet, but just to watch that game is the beauty of sports, and to see that shot go in at the end and everybody go crazy and Tracy Morgan hugging people. That was just awesome. I just love that.
No, it was real good stuff. Now, do you remember your earliest forms of gambling and wagering while growing up as a kid in Brooklyn? With me, I would have to say it was either marbles or flipping baseball cards.
Flipping baseball cards. And there was multiple ways to gamble your baseball cards. There was the actual, like when you say flip, like we would stand with some like a card and let it fall over onto the sidewalk, and you had to guess heads or tails. And depending on whether the guy got it right or not,
you would have to match it, as I recall. In other words, if I flipped a tail, say the backside with the stats on it, you would have to then flip a tail, which was easy to do because it's just like flipping a coin. Whatever side you have face up, it's going to land on the opposite side when it hits the ground.
Yeah, and then there was the other style, which is like kind of like playing a deck of cards where you kind of each person has a bunch of cards and you keep going in sequential order. And I don't know how you played it, but it was like if 2 players from the same team came back to back, then you would win the whole pile that had accumulated
that's a
in
real
the middle.
Sick adaptation of various card gambling games when it came to baseball cards. We had closies and leaners. Those were the 2 big games with giant pots. Leaners, you would put a number of cards leaning against the wall, and the one who knocked down the last one won the whole pot. And then topsies, there would be a bunch of cards flipped against the wall, and it ended on top and covered any other card that was already on the ground. You would sweep the whole pot. And there were multiple people involved in that.
Do kids today even have baseball cards, or are they NFTs? Is that the new thing? Like the
they would never flip them. Never flip them.
They don't flip them. Cards are one of the biggest
huge
commodities right now. Cards are actually huge. Both kids,
little kids are making millions in baseball card and sports card trading.
Cards
right
are a big deal.
Yeah, the world has changed. They're making millions on TikTok too, and I have no idea how any of that works.
So we'll have to dive into it. We're trying to get into that category here as a degenerate gambling show. All right. Well, the reason I brought it up is because sports gambling now legal in New York by telephone app, and that's going to cut down the traffic on the George Washington Bridge.
To go to the Meadowlands, yeah, sure.
No, but I mean, people had to, we were equating it to a wet foot, dry foot thing, which you no doubt wrote many articles about when you were on the editorial side there for the South Florida Sun Sentinel, which is one of the most ridiculous and cruelest of circumstances where a guy's got a toe, almost in the sand there, and a customs guy grabs him, and he just came through 90 miles of treacherous, shark-infested, jellyfish-infested waters, which have taken the lives of many. And because he's got no foot on the sand, just 1 foot, he got to go right back and face like a firing squad in Havana. It's crazy. And, it's finally a deal where you don't have to cross the bridge there and have 1 foot in New Jersey. It's going to be a boon, I would think, to all activities in New York.
Let me let you in on a secret, Defo. You never had to take the bridge to Jersey. There was always a guy in a bodega who would be happy to take a bet in New York. It's just now that the state is gonna, Caesar is gonna render unto Caesar. The state's gonna get its share, and it's gonna be legal, so you don't have to worry about anybody breathing down your neck about illegal activities. I kind of find it all a little bit disconcerting, though, because wasn't life a little more fun when there was that element of danger and frisson? When when you didn't just go up to the dispensary and get like the most pure, greatest bag of weed already rolled,
and you didn't
up
blow it
into
in a cop's
joints,
face,
but you had to like go into Washington Square Park and like get your dime bag from some unknown source, and is it oregano or is it sprayed with paraquat? Now it's like everything is licensed and regulated, and whether it's the marijuana and the gambling, and it's just crazy to me. And it's also a little also frightening because you mentioned that New York is allowing people to tap into credit cards for a certain amount, $2,500 a year.
$2,500 a year.
And I'm sorry, that's just irresponsible. A recipe for disaster.
You don't even have the money. Yes, exactly.
I advocate responsible wagering. I know that people got in trouble with the illegal bookies. Not that you or Defo would ever do such a thing, but
no one would consider it.
One of my, I'm a very sensible person. I do like to wager. You could call me a degenerate, but I wager the fun money. After all the bills are paid, I have that certain pile of discretionary cash that instead of going into the stock market, I go and play at Gulfstream. But it's money and cash in hand. But once you tap into things and you're betting on, speculation and credit, I don't think that's a responsible policy, especially for a state-sanctioned activity. So.
No, that seemed kind of wild. I mean, it's one thing you walk in, or maybe you're getting a line of credit from a bookie. That can be dangerous. But the state is essentially doing the same thing because you'd be better off getting the money on the streets than getting whacked from an unpaid credit card at like 26 and a hook. So that's some serious juice there that's coming on top of all of the difficulty of the odds that you're betting into, which obviously over time have been very favorable to the house. There's a reason all of these people, these entities are clamoring to, and I guess they came up with 4 operators and our bookmakers that were going to be able to take action. And at the forefront is a couple of Roger Goodell's favorite organizations, DraftKings and FanDuel.
Yeah,
which is amazing. And you talk about a cultural change. I mean, a position. Jimmy the Greek, he used to have to pretend like he wasn't talking about point spreads there on the CBS pregame shows there with Phyllis George and Musburger. And Musburger and the Greek were sending it in. And I don't know, is Phyllis feigning that she was appalled by the whole idea of losing your money?
Shocked that there's gambling going on. It's Casablanca all over again. But it's a whole new world. And can we please, as a first order of business, just put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame already? Okay, now that we've established that gambling is not.
He was a pioneer.
Sin.
He wasn't some miscreant. He was a pioneer.
I don't think he threw any games. I think he always wanted to win, right? I don't know.
A couple of questionable games. So mention is watching Pedro Borbon come in for the 5th night in a row, and it did appear that Pete was intent on covering an over in that ball game. He may not have been against the Reds. They were up like 11-1. He's bringing in Borbon again. His arm is hanging down to the ground. I mean, literally, you would have thought this was a guy coming in as an act in the circus. He was dragging his arm on the ground. And Pete would throw him in there to give up like 4 runs just to bust it up a little bit. And all of a sudden, you saw him dancing in the dugout there, lighting up a cigarette.
After Bourbon was in, you'd have to drink a 5th of bourbon. That was
it was ugly. All right. Hey, I'm very excited about this. And I'm sure Lubie, even though his name has been taken off the opening of the program, your fine radio show, Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, on Odyssey app around the world, and WWNN 12 to 1 every day. But he's going to want to poach in on that barbecue thing, especially at the Fort Lauderdale Wine and Food Festival.
Yes,
and I know you're going to be a big part of that, Mike Mayo.
Yeah, it's coming up next week, and I know the food festivals are coming up further south next month down in Miami, the South Beach Festival, which is the granddaddy of the food fest. But this is an up and comer, and it's in my mind, it's better because it's a little bit smaller size. a lot more reasonably priced. And yeah, it's next week from the 10th to the 16th. There's a whole bunch of events, and it's the Greater Fort Lauderdale Food and Wine Festival. I think it's in its third or fourth year, and it's going to be neat because on Friday night next week, it's a week from tonight at the Hyatt Centric Hotel in Fort Lauderdale. It's the poolside barbecue battle, and I'm going to be a judge.
Yeah.
And we got some extra tickets,
Nice.
so come on out and then go on their website, gflfoodwine.com, and check out. A lot of the events are selling out, but the two big events outdoors, which is perfect for this time of year and the conditions given what's happening in the world. But the outdoor events is the poolside barbecue battle Friday night, and then the grand tasting on Saturday, the 15th. It will be at the Las Olas Waterside Park there, right at the beach, Las Olas and A1A in Fort Lauderdale. Go check it out. And yeah, if you use the special Lunchbox promo code, you get an extra 15% off your tickets, already low prices to those two big outdoor events. So go check it out. It's going to be fun. I'm going to be stuffing my face, trying to do my walk of life today. There was too much traffic on the way back. 595 was jammed up. So I didn't make it back to my computer here till like 8:30. So I'm going to have to get in an abbreviated walk later, but before we do the Lunchbox show, which I'm going to be doing
Going to
live.
be on location today. I can't make it out there, unfortunately.
That's okay. We'll get you
while.
next time. But
right.
Yeah, for anybody out there who's listening, wants to come by, going to be doing a live remote broadcast from a cut of a butcher shop in Fort Lauderdale, which is right there on Cordova Road. And owner Mark Small and Chef Jeff, nice enough, they want to get us in. They're even making up a banner that I could drape over the table. So we're going to be doing the live, I think, most Fridays. So we'll get you out there next week, Defo.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
going to be a lot of fun. And I don't know if
I'd love to join. Let me know.
Oh, all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah.
He
There's
has an
free
interest in
lunch.
the show,
So
man.
come on out.
told Mike I'm
missing
willing
an
to do
action.
whatever you guys need. You know.
I only got the one
He's willing
mic
to
set
eat.
up on my computer, but and if you go to the Let's Eat South Florida Facebook group right now, we're closing in on 70,000 members. It's the crazy food and fun related Facebook group that we started when I was at the Sun Sentinel back in 2018. I still do it in conjunction with the Sun Sentinel, but go on there and join, and you'll see I posted the big debate this week was people got crazy over this too, Defo. You know how some people call tomato sauce gravy, and I don't know if that was a Jersey thing, a Sopranos thing. And like I found different jars of sauce. And yesterday I saw at Cut Above, they have a whole new lineup of a product that's called Jersey gravy. So all these sauces are labeled gravy. And I posted a picture of that because I don't know why people get triggered when you call pasta sauce.
I think
gravy.
it's an Italian thing, man. Maybe Sicilian. I'm not sure.
Well, it's Sunday gravy is when you simmer the whole pot with the meat and the braciole and the meatballs and the sausages, and a lot of Italian American families, especially in the Jersey and Philly, Jersey, and parts of Brooklyn, call that Sunday sauce gravy. So it doesn't bother me. Call it anything. Just don't call me late for dinner. That's what I say.
I remember being broke, and I never tasted anything better than a loaf of Italian bread dipped in cold ragu. Right off the shelf.
I still do it.
Yeah,
I drink the stuff straight from the jars. It's disgusting.
Like an Italian feast to us at that time. All right, we're coming back with more with Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet here on Ion Channel. Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday, brought to you by the people at Gulfstream Park, and happy to be with you. Be with you until about 9:30 Eastern Time here on the show. More food and sports talk with Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, coming up in just a moment. He's Mike Lubitz. All of a sudden, he's all in on the food show. Yeah, because there's a free lunch involved. Oh, get out of here, man. I mean, you're so easy to read, Lubie.
We'll work things
I'll
out.
do anything for you guys.
We got things in the works. It's going to be, it's all good.
We might have a need for a guy to come and slobber down some food while we're working. All right, back with more in a moment. Now that
we could just video Lubie, that'll be great.
Would that be something? That'll tell you. It's like watching a dog eat, a rabid dog. It's 9/11.
Since day one of old school, we've had Catholic Health Services be part of our family. They are recognized as the quintessential rehab facility in the Southeast for strokes, but it goes well beyond strokes because Catholic Health Services is in the community of South Florida to help the community stay healthy. And if they're not healthy, get them healthy and get them back on their feet quicker than they could have ever expected. They do it every single day. It's step and repeat. 24/7. Catholic Health Services.
The championship meet is right around the corner at Gulfstream Park. The only place for live racing, Gulfstream's action has never been hotter. Whether it's on the track, in the casino, or part of the dining and entertainment offered at the Village of Gulfstream Park. Currently running Thursday through Sunday, Gulfstream's racing package is the best in the country, with all the top horses and people in the game pointing towards another tremendous winter season. Check out the remodeled first floor casino, open 7 days and nights a week, along with the many special events and concerts happening at Gulfstream Park. You can place your wagers from anywhere at firstbet.com. Check the calendar of events at gulfstreampark.com.
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
Buy or lease a Taos and take it to the house at Deel Volkswagen. Anna and her team make your next VW purchase or lease so easy with new inventory rolling in daily and the biggest selection of certified pre-owned vehicles in the business. You can make your deal online at deelvolkswagen.com or visit the beautiful showroom in the classic location, 3601 Bird Road, right in the heart of the Gables. Or give Anna and the team at Deel a call at 305-448-DEEL. Jettas, Passats, Tiguans, Atlas models, and the hottest vehicle in the industry, the new Taos, all at unbeatable prices and all ready to roll off the showroom floor at the #1 Volkswagen dealership around, Deel Volkswagen. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, with us, and we're going to ride it out the door until 10 o'clock today with Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet here. The Saints, and I think, I don't know, is it a 10-point edge, New Orleans over Chicago? A 10-point edge in food.
Hard to give, but it is, Chicago has so much great food. New Orleans, if it was rated, if the line was based on food, it would be New Orleans by about 3.5.
You need a cardiologist, though, to be on call, and also if you have the gout, forget about it. You're done.
The New Orleans is like the food equivalent of Vegas. Like after 5 days, you're done. You got to get out of there. Otherwise, you're going to be.
You have enough sodium in your system to explode.
Yes.
Vegas for the gambling action, your head just starts spinning.
Grab a bagel and a schmear, plus some Defo and Lubie. Welcome back to the Defo Show.
Welcome back to the show. Good to be with you here as we wrap things up. Coming down deep stretch here on the Degenerate Friday show, Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday on the Defo Show here on ION channel. Just Google the Defo Show. You can find us and archived all the shows there. And you can take a look at the evolution of this thing as we head into a new Degenerate universe. Our time is going to come. Mike Lubitz is in one box. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, is in the other. I would imagine we'll develop these themes over the next several weeks. So with the NFL playoffs on tap, and it pertains to food, Mike Mayo. And that is, I've always had the 5 B's that I consider essential to having a great Super Bowl party. And, of course, the obvious one would be booze, barbecue, babes, and then you have to have a big screen, of course, which pretty much everybody does now. That's no great luxury anymore. So some of these things may be a little bit outdated. And then a bookmaker.
Yes.
And, there's all kinds of speculation as to, what are the right things to serve.
Does beer fall into booze as one of the B's?
Beer is under a general heading. And
beers
babes,
and booze, barbecue.
That whole thing. What do you think?
You left out pizza spot. I need my, pizza pies for the Super Bowl.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So that's just one theory that we can work on.
No,
now,
that's all right.
One of your other theories.
Hey, before we get into all this, because I did want to talk a little bit about this college championship game.
All right, good.
I'm a little bit fired up, and I'm also a little bit very confused. My world was rocked by one of the things Mark Lawrence said earlier. But first of all, I just think I'm incensed over the whole thing. I don't particularly care about these two teams. And I mean, we've seen it before. I mean, Bama, okay, same old story. They're great. They come up big in big games. But they just played each other. And how is it possible that a team that is not the SEC champion, that has already lost its, the conference final and does not have a conference title, can then be the national champion. I think it should be disqualifying. I don't care if the power rankings have you as one of the top 4 teams. You should not be. If you can't win your major conference title, in this case, Georgia falls flat on its face against Bama in the title game, SEC game, then you're disqualified from competing for the national title, because you're going to have a possibility of Georgia taking revenge and being the national champion, but Alabama is still the Southeastern
It's
Conference.
like the World Boxing Council, right?
And,
Where you're
and
the interim
I just
intercontinental
think
champion.
on a fundamental, basic level, that's just wrong, and it shouldn't be allowed. So if I was ruler of the sports universe, Georgia would have gotten the heave-ho, even though they completely destroyed Michigan and proved what a bunch of frauds the Big Ten is, which even though it has Big 11 or Big 12 or however many teams it is, which is also a basic logical fallacy, and for proponents of higher education,
many
dumb.
scathing indictments in there, Mike Mayo. I mean,
Yeah.
you worked on a lot of stuff there,
Okay.
including how shitty the Big Ten is, in your opinion. I wanted to ask you this though,
But
'cause,
let me,
we
and
do-
then the second thing, because this is important and important to degenerates like me and you. But he said something that that basically the odds makers were handicappers, and that they make power rankings, and that's how they set their initial line, which I understand. But he was basically saying that they can't reverse course and eat crow, and that because they originally set Georgia's 6.5 point favorites last month, that they can't make Alabama favorites this month, and that they just have to scale it back to 3 points because they're going, otherwise it would upend their whole power rankings. And that just blew my mind, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I always thought that odds makers were arbitragers, and all they wanted to do when they set a line was make an assurance that they're going to get 50% of the money one way and 50% of the money the other way. And that way the house is assured of its profit, the VIG.
And to get the juice, yeah.
If you get 50 and 50, then it's fine. This line, to me, I mean, he explains it that way, but I call this a sucker line, and I think gamblers know what a sucker line is. It's a line that's induced to get most of the money going one way, because the bookmakers either know something or have a strong suspicion that it's going to go the other way. And in this case, I haven't seen the stats yet of how much money is pouring in each way, but I haven't seen the line move. But I would presume that based on everything, reputation, national following, and what happened last month, and the other trend lines like Alabama being 5-1 when they're straight up underdogs, that I would think 60 to 70% of the money now is coming in on Bama getting points. And yet, and the money line, and I mean, the line hasn't changed. So that to me is a sucker line that the odds makers in the house really thinks Georgia is going to win, and they want to make a big killing on this. I'm staying away from the game, but if I had to bet it, if somebody put a gun to my head, I would bet Georgia.
Are you aware of the other factor that's involved here? The so-called Rachel Nichols kiss of death factor? Lubie also likes Georgia in this game.
Well, as being somebody who's a good friend of Rachel, I am familiar with that angle, but I'm also going to go with the food angle. Where would I rather eat? Would I rather eat roadkill in Tuscaloosa or some barbecue in Buckhead? I'm going to Atlanta, even though Athens, GA. I still rather eat in Athens than Tuscaloosa, so I'm going to go with Georgia. I mean, again, but I'm not playing the game.
Non-applicable. There is no food in Alabama, as you mentioned. I mean, roadkill is considered a delicacy. I mean, a squirrel looks like Chateaubriand to these hillbillies. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So, but what do you think? I mean, did what Mark Lawrence say surprise you? Weren't you always under the impression that it's supposed to be they're trying to just get a 50-50 split, and they're not necessarily handicapping the game?
That was, what I think would be the foundational premise there, by which all lines are being made, and yet. It's hard to argue with their success at pegging numbers with the just inordinate number of games that boil down to the final series of plays, no matter what the differential has been in terms of the way the game has been contested or the relative talent level of the two teams. It's amazing in all sports how accurate these numbers are. So, I mean, if that's what they go by, their principles in the power rankings, and they had them 6 and a hook last time, all right, so they saw them lose. Maybe some of those points at the end were a little bit gratuitous on the part of Georgia, which, they got dismantled towards the end of that game when Alabama piled up a lot of points also. So maybe that's their thinking, that they're really the better team, and they just they screwed up a ballgame. And, and I would think that if they're not getting balance, And they are under your theory, they know that Georgia's going to whack these guys, and they want everybody to bet Alabama. Here, take some points, because I would have thought Bama would be a very slight favorite in that game, thinking that Georgia did not play its best ball game. Obviously, Alabama was razor sharp that day, and they haven't necessarily always been. So I thought Bama may be favored by a point or a pick.
Yeah, exactly. When the matchup was set, I always kind of guessed my head what the line's going to be, and I said Bama by 1.5, 1 and a hook. And I saw that 3 the other way, and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?"
That looked really strange.
Yeah.
I wanted you to handicap this week's Patriots using an old angle, Patriots Dolphins game, based on food, because it would be an interesting debate. And you're a New England guy. Of course,
no, in Brooklyn. I grew up in Brooklyn. I went to school in Boston.
You were there, in school and the Boston Globe, so you're very familiar with this, and no doubt your interest in food had already begun to blossom to heading towards a professional level while you were there, and you spent a lot of time in that area, so you would be aware of what is it, the North Shore restaurants? Is that the place to go for the good restaurants in Beantown?
No, I mean, well, there's the North End. I think
North End, yeah,
North End. North Shore is Gloucester, and
North Shore is Long Island.
The Gordon, the Gordons. You're going to get some frozen fish sticks with
That's
Gordons
it,
of Gloucester, but
right.
the North
How would
End
you compare
has
the two cities from a food standpoint?
Oh, Boston is tremendous now because they've gotten a lot of high-end places, and a lot of tech money is in there, and both downtown Boston and Cambridge area has some really good high-end restaurants, but the North End is kind of their Little Italy, and they got some great old school places and some fancy joints. So it's a very worthy food town. Plus, how could you go against chowder and lobster rolls and all those things? But Miami, we have just a cornucopia of diversity and riches. And again, given what's going on in the world now, I will take outdoor dining in South Florida over just about anywhere else these days. So on that alone, I guess I would. I don't want to bet this game. I don't want to go to the game. I don't want to watch the game. Before I'm going to be playing horses. I don't know if you're going, but
right now I'm slated to go, but that's very suspect as we speak for a variety of reasons.
So I looked at the card at Gulfstream tomorrow. Did Jersey Kyle give out any stimulus?
No horses today. He's been cashing on his mush theory, anti-mush theory, and I was with him and his resident mush, the great Dean Silvano. I don't want to name names, but Dino. Once plastered, has a tendency to parrot sporting opinions that he's received from other guys that also have been perennial and lifetime losers. And Kyle's just been going the other way, including a nice money line cash in a college basketball game against Michigan the other night.
I love that.
Okay, so he's found his milieu, and it doesn't involve
niche, yeah.
Yeah, it does not involve 4 legs nor 4 hooves.
And, he's cashing giant tickets on the horses as well. So
wait, and now he's cold watering us. He's not giving that out when he's finally actually hitting.
Well, I think he's benefiting from the handicapping expertise of a certain guy that also we can't mention his name.
Okay, but it would be nice if he just, shares a couple of tips here and there.
I think he's just lucking out because he happens to be partners with this guy.
Oh, he's just hopping aboard. He's like your man Luca Panici.
Well, it's okay. He's you might have a guy that you trust, in a betting, situation, and the guy always wins at the track or whatever, and he says, "Hey, Mayo, give me 200. I'm going to play the pick 6 today," and you don't even ask him who he's picking.
All right, well, I'm gonna stick my toe in the water again tomorrow at Gulfstream because you know me. I love Saturdays in January at Gulfstream. January, February is prime time when all the big barns are debuting their big, hot 3-year-old horses, and you can find some hidden value. So I've got 3 plays tomorrow, 3 races that I'm looking at, and the fourth race tomorrow at Gulfstream is one of those maiden special weight races from top barns, high quality pedigrees, and a lot of first time starters. And my man Todd Pletcher has 2 horses in the race. And one of my things is always bet the higher price Pletcher, don't leave out the higher price Pletcher. And both of these figure. One of them is ridden by Paco Lopez, Caronade. That's the 3 horse. One of them is ridden by Luis Saez, Ironworks. This is the 4th race. I'm going to do a 3-6-9 $5 exacta box in that race because the 6 horse is a kind of long shot, but it's out of More Than Ready, and this is a 6 furlong race. And I love the More Than Ready babies going 6 panels at Gulfstream. They seem to like it. Throw a 3-6-9 box in the 4th. And then in the 7th race is another baby race, and Pletcher also has 2 horses in that one. One of them is called Charge It. That's the number 2. One of them is the number 6 Calipari. That's for college basketball fans.
There you go.
First time starter with Erod Ortiz. It's not Irad. It's mispronounced. Erod. Ortiz. Yeah.
All right.
So, and then the third one I'm going to throw in, another long shot, is Bernie Lomax. And it's out of Bernardini, and I love Bernardini's. This race is going to be going a mile. Like Bernardini's going a mile at Gulfstream. So a 268 $5 after box. And then my last play of the day in the feature race is a turf stakes race, and this is just pure hunch play. Defo, the number 3 horse in the 8th race at Gulfstream, is named Fat Man, and in honor of
Fat Man. We have Fat Man
in honor of this show. Thank you.
In honor of me and all my overindulgence during the holidays, and now I'm
you're cleaning up your act. We're happy to say.
I am going to just, whatever I win on those first 2 races will be plunged right back across the board on Fat Man, and I hope he just comes loping on home a winner.
Great Jethro Tull song. Don't want to be a fat man. People would think that I was just good fun. All right. Excellent stuff. It was good fun, Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet. Mike Mayo, catch him on Mike Mayo's Lunchbox Odyssey app.
Nice.
That's AUDACY Odyssey
Yes,
app.
Odyssey.
Universally all over the place. Gets underway at noon Eastern time. And Mike's going to be on location at a place called Cut Above. That's right across the street from his house. I will be entrenched here in the Defo studios. And we're going to be out there and out and about. I mean, that sounds like a good thing. Getting out and about and eating some great lunches all around the South Florida dining scene. So look forward to that.
Spreading the wealth, yes.
Yeah, and you guys can listen around the country and around the world on that Odyssey radio app. All right, Lubie, great week. A lot of fun coming back. 2022
sir.
after a rocking start. A lot of big things on tap. Mike Mayo, who you've already made disappear there in a magic type fashion. Always great having you on the show. And I'm Jeff Deforrest for Jack Namer, the whole crew there, Ion Channel. Thanks so much for getting involved with us here in 2022. Just getting underway. A lot of big things on the horizon. Happy New Year, everybody. And we'll see you on Monday at 7 in the a.m. with the next edition of the Defo Show. You had it all today, Lubie, huh? You had college analysis.
Everything.
A lot of different angles.
A bit of
Professor was great. Mark Lawrence was great. That was a lot of fun. Jersey Kyle was on his game. He's hitting all kinds of, with that serendipitous luck that he has. Which I would rather have that, I think, than all the expertise in the world.
Yeah, it always works out for him.
You just walk into things, and it always works out well. I mean, just absolutely fantastic. And Mike Mayo with some pretty in-depth horse racing analysis there. And I thought he was going to invoke his theory that if you leave out Pletcher, you leave on a stretcher, which is one of my favorite Mayo theories, an adaptation of a theory by another handicapper, and yet at the same time completely relevant. But those are great races. When you see these 3-year-olds bouncing on the scene, and sometimes Lubie out at Gulfstream Park, you'll see a horse that pops up in like a maiden special weight or an allowance race early in the season, and then that horse, previously undiscovered and unannounced or unaccounted for in the Kentucky Derby picture, suddenly starts to loom like a horse that you might be able to make a score on when they run for the Roses in May. So
Nice.
a lot of interesting sporting story evolutions taking place and this was always a fascinating thing about the winter racing scene here in South Florida. Whether you're plunging on the ponies, you can follow this, and always very entertaining, and you can spot some things. So Mayo on top of that for us here on the Deel Volkswagen Degenerate Friday show. Lubie, you have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on Monday. Thanks so much for checking us out here on Ion Channel, and we'll be happy to see you once again next week as we leave you know that.
The time.
9:30.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.